Good morning.
Some angels of the morning are up
Hello there.
before the sun.
This is Nala. She's here to work.
Up,
Have a good day, Nala.
up, and at 'em.
Let her go. She knows where she's going.
She's coming to see ya. Here she is.
Oh, I knew she would come to see me. Hi, honey.
With a whole
Oh,
nursing
yes,
home full of
just-
laps to visit.
You're my pretty little girl.
Where to next?
A teacup poodle needs an early start.
Nala, you're my baby.
Their baby, their princess.
Your Royal Highness.
Seems like everyone at Ling Bloomston Care Center claims Nala.
My little sweetheart.
And so it's been.
And we're good.
Since Doug Dawson brought Nala to work one day and has barely seen her since.
We just meet in passing in the hallway.
While Doug dispenses medicine, Nala prescribes
Hello.
affection.
If you put her down, she'll pick out the person with Alzheimer's.
She good, Dad?
She has a way of picking the sick.
She's a good dog, huh?
Press the button for ya.
Nala sets her own schedule,
Hi.
decides who to see and when to see them.
If she could, she would press the button herself.
Right or left, Nala knows.
My husband and I had a little schnauzer like I have on the dresser there. And that was our pride and joy, and she just comes close to that.
Are you having fun?
Not a day of training as a therapy dog, just a once whiny pup who'd washed out at a nursing home
He said, you can have her.
where Doug used to work.
Just where did this little being come from? She's here for a purpose. I believe she really is doing God's work.
For all Nala's sprinting around, what touches them most is the times she lingers,
I think she knows.
like she did just 24 hours ago at Inez Gugesberg's side.
She had died earlier in the morning, but Nala knew and went and sat with her. So yeah, it was wonderful, and we all were in tears.
Oh, baby.
No one can say if dogs go to heaven,
She'll do anything for Grandma.
but the residents at Ling Bloomston will tell you heaven sent Nala
She's an angel.
to them.
She's an angel. I love her, and she loves me.
No calling birds, no turtle doves to summon Christmas to the tree farm. No geese a-laying, no swans a-swimming. But then, who needs them?
He's got a character, he's got a personality.
He's the new arrival leaving his mark all over this place.
He just showed up one day, out of the blue.
Angela Nelson's family
Merry Christmas.
runs the orchard and tree farm, where 6 weeks ago, this rambling Rhode Island red rooster took up residence.
Yep, his name is Willie.
Willie Nelson,
It seems to work. We just go with it.
their very own red-headed stranger.
He just kind of adopted us and we adopted him.
Where Willie came from exactly is a Christmas mystery. The Nelsons checked with the farms up and down their roads and learned of not a single rooster on the lam. But however he got here, Willie found the perfect place.
See? He's greeting the kids. I'm here. Come see me.
Turns out more than one guy with a red cap and a beard
Here, Willie.
is spending the holidays charming children.
Follow the rooster and he'll show you the best Christmas trees.
Come here, Willie.
Looks like he wanted a home and some people to be around.
In other words, a chicken with his thighs on the prize.
The rooster's following us.
The Nelsons have a barn, but Willie has taken to sleeping in the wrapping paper on top of that sleigh.
It's Willie the Christmas chicken. Yeah, that's perfect.
Sure, no one knows where he came from. But Willie Nelson may just be Christmas's best poultry delivery, since a partridge landed in a pear tree.
Keeping everybody smiling. Oh, Willie.
Boyd Hooper, KARE 11 News. Webster.
After that story first aired, the Nelson family heard from people as far away as from Australia who had seen Willie on TV. He spent the rest of that winter in their barn. Then, come summer, Willie disappeared, just as mysteriously as he had arrived.
The room all but begs for a comparison.
It's loud in here? Oh, yeah.
But first, we'd have to find out if anyone even runs jet engines under tin roofs.
There's people that won't even go back here anymore.
The racket at the Freeborn County Humane Society can be tough on human ears. Now put yourself in these paws.
That's danger. Danger, danger.
Cat hell in a metal box with one little piece of heaven.
This is a Stony End therapy harp.
Clear back to high school, Rachel Christensen has been playing the harp for people. Last summer, she broadened her audience. Instantly, shelter workers noticed a change in their cats.
I love how it makes them relax, calms them down.
And if there was ever a place that needed some calming,
Boy, he's just purring like crazy.
it was the Freeborn County Humane Society.
Emotions were running high at that point in time, people and the animals.
The shelter was getting set for an expansion last summer. Plans were drawn to double the space and give the cats their own quiet room, all funded by an anonymous donor. The money sat safely in escrow at the Albert Lee Abstract Company, owned by a respected former county commissioner named Linda Tuttle. Her county board portrait, this is not. The county jail took this one when Tuttle was arrested for allegedly gambling away the money.
She took every penny of our $150,000, yes. It's all gone.
Let's see here. As you can see, it's very crowded in here.
Rachel read the news, picked up her harp, and headed for the shelter.
It was nice to be able to come in and kind of change the environment a little bit, even for an hour at a time.
Half a year later, she's still playing. Once a week, Rachel slips away from her gas station, the one she named after her old dog. In the back, she sells used books. Profits go to the shelter. Where today, she plays for a cat found by the side of the road named Chance, who was given a second one.
Chance got frostbit and lost a leg and part of his tail. Oh, sweetie. Hi. Oh, yes. Hi, boys. Yeah.
At least once a visit, Rachel tries to bring some calm to the noisiest part of the building. But it's always the cats who seem to become almost one with the music. Rachel hopes good music will be followed by good homes.
We just do the best we can while they're here to make life good.
Not exactly heaven, but for an hour a week, Rachel Christensen makes it sound like it. Boyd Hooper, KARE 11 News, Albert Lee. If only we knew what they're thinking. What object of affection beyond these four walls consumes their thoughts? Brace yourself, for in this rarest of cases,
Where's your sticky?
we know.
There you go.
Because Cassie is part yellow lab, part branch manager.
From day one, she just picked up a stick and away we went.
Jerry and Mary Beersba have the photographic proof of their little puppy already stuck on a stick.
The dog with the stick. That's what we're known as, the keepers of the dog with the stick.
She's always got it, yes. Yes, she's quite the dog.
As Cassie grew,
Every time.
her sticks did too. This one, 6 feet long, she carried 5 years.
I was in Herberger's one time and a lady across the jewelry counter was checking out and she's looking at me. She goes, "Oh my gosh, you're the lady with the dog with the stick." And I go, "Yeah."
Now 11 years old, Cassie is 6 months into a stick more age appropriate. She is, however, no less determined.
Would you be angry if I borrowed your stick for a second?
That's photographer Rob Collins trying to attach the tiniest of cameras to Cassie's stick. And Cassie having none of it.
He likes the stick.
But if Cassie has a nemesis,
Might be a little bit tricky here.
it's that narrow bridge on the way to the park. She can be, after all, a wide load.
She just basically hit the bridge and kind of goes backwards.
Like an old Three Stooges routine.
Worse, that gap in the bridge railing cost Cassie her last stick when it tumbled into the swift-moving spring current.
Oh, she was going in.
She wanted to find it, yeah. She was going in. We had to stop her.
Cassie ran instead into the woods, re-emerging moments later.
You got a new sticky?
She's got to pick it.
She has standards. Go on.
And as for that menacing bridge,
let's go.
No way she's dropping her friend again.
You can make it. Good, Pop.
That's a good girl.
I think she's a showboat, personally. I think she likes leading a parade, just likes showing off.
Dog or drum major?
She's strutting her stuff.
Either way, Cassie isn't about to give up her shtick.
Goofball.
Boyd Hubert, KARE 11 News, Sartell.
Boyd Hubert takes us to Wabasha County in tonight's Land of 10,000 Stories.
Some cemetery visitors are expected.
Every day.
Karen Miller is one of those.
It's pretty much the only physical thing that I can do for my son after he passed away.
Aiden Miller was fishing with friends when the seemingly healthy 16-year-old collapsed from a suspected cardiac arrhythmia.
Next Wednesday on July 22nd, it'll be 1 year since he passed away.
Which only serves to amplify the mystery of the unexpected visitor.
We don't know where this thing came from. She just showed up one evening, actually.
Dan Miller, Aiden's dad, is still trying to make sense of it. Aiden's sister, Evelyn, too. For 3 weeks now, this little red hen has not left their Aiden's grave.
It seems crazy. There's probably 1,000 other stones in the cemetery, and it just refuses to leave this one.
Aiden loved animals.
Here, little baby.
That's him.
Show you to the camera.
The morning of the day he died, nursing a newborn calf. Aiden was especially fond of the chickens his family used to raise on their farm. Now, a new arrival, appropriately named,
Angel, come here.
has become especially fond of his family.
There you go. Hi. Well, if she's going to hang out here, we probably better bring her some food and water.
Then Dan built Angel a box. But still, they worry about surrounding fields teeming with hungry foxes and coyotes.
There were coon tracks all over the grave one night, and yet she was still here in the morning. I think Aiden watches over her at night and keeps her safe.
The Millers are faithful members of Immaculate Conception Catholic Church. But beyond the walls, they've also found what they needed to help them through July 22nd.
Come here, come see me.
And more.
There you go. About a month ago, I was diagnosed with breast cancer.
Aiden was the kind of son
No, you've never gotten quite that close before.
who would have wanted this for his mom.
She's brought a lot more smiles than tears these past few weeks.
In this country church cemetery, there's no need to ask which came first, the chicken or the faith. Boyd Hubert, KARE 11 News, Kellogg. He's still learning. Remember that. As you meet Elliot Tanner, 10 years old.
5x squared plus 7y squared plus 9z squared.
And just getting started.
I think we have to kind of step out of the box sometimes to realize that this isn't a normal situation.
Not normal at Normandale Community College.
Z is equal to x squared minus y squared.
For a 10-year-old to be enrolled in Calculus 3.
Like cosine U, sine V.
Having already aced college algebra, statistics, physics, and trigonometry.
Plus 7y squared, where y is a squared.
Not normal.
Hey, Elliot.
Even then.
Rolled over at 4 weeks old.
It just stopped
Started happening really, really quick.
Patrick and Michelle are Elliot's parents.
It's just us trying to keep up.
Words at 7 months, short sentences by a year. The alphabet before he was 2.
And then he learned it in Swedish right after that, just for the heck of it, I guess.
6 times 3?
18.
But Elliot's true love?
24.
6 times
numbers.
He would have these little magnetic numbers, and they were his little like loveys instead of stuffed animals. By 3, he was doing addition with them on the play rug in his room.
This is 20 plus 20 and makes 40.
Elliot's only failure? Kindergarten.
When everybody else was talking about superheroes, he wanted to talk about a particle accelerator.
So his parents looked to homeschooling, then online classes.
And he just consumed curriculum faster than I could buy it. He was done with algebra in a month, done with geometry in 2 weeks.
After breezing through the high school curriculum,
all right, go for it.
At 10, Elliot has a 4.0 GPA.
I just like using logical reasoning.
As he nears the end of his sophomore year of college.
You probably know a lot more about it than I do.
So it's actually a capital X.
Oh.
Michelle waits for her son to check in.
Hello. Hi.
Between classes.
I advocated for myself and I got some more points on an assignment.
Awesome job.
At home, Elliot relaxes with his guitar.
4.
And plays with his neighborhood friends. And it's not like he won't have a high school experience.
I'm tutoring some of the students here.
Remember, Elliot's here to answer any questions?
You take the inverse of this one.
Today, Elliot's helping teach Bloomington Kennedy's
X minus
pre-calculus students.
Oh, here's the problem. It's that you defined f of x twice. I just take great pleasure in teaching people.
He should be in elementary school. And he's way above my high school students that are about to graduate.
Because it's a discontinuity, the limit does not exist.
Okay. You're just part of the class. Yeah, he just goes like he's dancing again right now.
He's just a super sweet kid.
We're not pushing, we're being pulled. You know, he's taking us for a ride.
The x dz gives us y.
And soon Elliot's ride will be taking another turn.
From z.
He's already visited the University of Minnesota, where he plans to start his junior year this fall.
I don't know how exactly this works, but I want to at least get a doctorate.
10 years old.
I think I'm ready for the next step. I want to know the deepest secrets of the universe.
I want him to have the world and whatever he wants, and as long as he continues to be a kind person and follows his heart, I think he's going to be just fine.
Don't worry.
Still learning.
Don't worry about a thing.
The only way Elliot
Every little thing
knows how to play it.
is gonna be alright.
Just want him to be happy.
Every little thing
That's what it's all about.
is gonna be alright.
Boyd Hupert, KARE 11 News. St. Louis Park. Midwestern towns are known for their solid foundations.
I like quirky.
But what keeps them
Quirky works.
interesting
Okay, we got the cookies. We're good.
is people
Here we go.
like Sherry Gleesner.
I have a treat for you today. No transactions, just cookies.
Oh my goodness!
There you go.
How nice!
To get a personal delivery from Sherry
Oh my, Sherry.
is one of Hutchinson's favorite surprises.
Yum! Very special person.
But what really set Sherry apart are her deliveries
And I said, hope you are doing well.
in the
Natural.
mail.
Doesn't take no thought, no effort, no nothing. It's effortless, right backwards. And that's pretty easy.
Sherry still remembers the first time she stumbled on this as a 5th grader doing schoolwork at the blackboard.
It's just one of them quirks that I guess God took off the shelf and said, here you go.
What God gave Sherry,
I just right to him.
her husband would later inherit.
So this is what you do? Yeah.
This is what he does, yep.
Cody, have a great day at work. You are an awesome husband. Love me.
I can't figure out my own brain. I've asked doctors. They can't figure me out either.
Especially after she showed them this.
Greetings to you all at Carrie 11 News. Easy. I'd rather be quirky than normal, you know. May your day be ever blessed.
And since quirky doesn't rest,
There we go.
Sherry is now challenging herself.
Just because it takes more concentration than the hands, let me tell you. When I can get all four going, then I can call you back. Wouldn't that be fun?
Whether baking or backing.
Come on, sweetie.
Sherry Gleesner believes whatever talent you're blessed with
Yeah.
should be used to serve others. So with a nod to the calendar, the last words in Sherry's story will be hers.
May your Thanksgiving be full of gratitude.
Boyd Hooper, Care 11 News.
It's going to happen today, for sure.
Time flies, just not for Kay Hamilton.
Oh, gosh.
At the moment.
I can see him in there. I can see the whole butterfly now. Just any minute.
Kay has promised us a butterfly birth.
Let's go.
But the monarch is being a royal pain.
Come on, bud. Let's do this. Don't you want out of there?
We'll check back. But first,
This is a good stand.
let's go back
Bottoms of leaves.
about 30 days.
And here's an egg. It's always a good day when I find an egg. Yes, yes.
Look closely.
I'll point it with the scissors. It's right there.
That tiny speck on a milkweed leaf
And here's another one.
has a big future.
And another egg.
Monarch butterfly eggs by the dozen,
And here's another egg.
now in the care
Woohoo!
of their adoptive mom.
Babies. They are my babies. They are.
900 eggs
Can you see it?
and baby caterpillars
They are so cute.
collected and hatched just this spring and summer.
I'm like a Marine. I can't leave one behind.
Left in the wild to hungry predators and bad weather.
Right there.
Fewer than 1 in 10 eggs makes the transition to monarch butterfly.
These are all
In phase care,
my babies.
9 of 10 will one day fly.
This is my passion. I'm trying to save the world one monarch at a time.
The dinner party on Kay's dining room table lasts a week,
To the hutch.
then becomes a picnic.
Aren't they sweet? Look at him. He's like, where am I? What am I doing? What are you doing to me?
Soon, these very hungry caterpillars will be transitioning to their chrysalis stage.
Metamorphosis is going on. They're actually changing from a caterpillar to a monarch butterfly.
Which brings us back to Kay's dining room, where the occupant of this chrysalis
Here it comes.
is now cooking.
Amazing.
Let's speed it up just a bit.
I never get tired of this. Never, ever, ever. See it swaying? It will hang right there and sway while its wings dry. Hi, big guy. Welcome to the world. You're gonna fly, fly, fly all the way to Mexico.
Just a day later, freedom.
As butterflies, this is their first taste of the real world. Whoop, there went that one.
Already this summer, hundreds of first flights credited to Kay, each launched with a prayer as they rest only briefly in the trees.
I say, please, God, help this butterfly make it to Mexico safely.
The journey that starts in a milkweed patch comes right back around for Kay Hamilton,
Very, very successful day.
Minnesota's monarch mom.
Everyone is a miracle.
Boyd Hooper, Care 11 News, Egan. Just around the bend. That's from where the best characters come.
But it's just been his routine for as far back as I know.
Ears up, tongue down.
He's a big to-do here.
A wolf of a dog makes his 4-mile commute from Lake Country
Everybody knows Bruno.
to town.
You may not know the people, but you'll know Bruno.
Sharon Rouse has been watching this through that open corner she's left in the real estate listings.
He'll be walking this way across the street, he'll be walking that way across the street. He just literally wanders around town.
A wanderer who starts his rounds strategically behind the deli door.
He waits.
At Tobacco's grocery store.
Here you go, boy. Oh, he's just always here.
Here, unless Bruno is there. City Hall.
Laying down.
Frosty's ice cream.
Regular trips.
On his way to the one stop.
I think he just likes people.
I actually just moved up here and it was like one of the first things I heard of him. Because I had to stop my car for him to cross the street. He's just the town dog.
The town dog who wandered into their lives. 12 years ago.
A guy come in my driveway, and Bruno was a little pup. He says, I found your dog at the end of your driveway. And I says, well, he ain't my dog.
Larry and Debbie LaValle took in that wandering stray.
As he was a pup growing, I tried to get him to stay home. And I'd chain him up, and he'd almost hang himself. He'd go to the end of the rope thing, and he just didn't want to be chained up.
And once Bruno discovered State Highway 84 leads to Longville, there was no turning back.
There's all kinds of people he goes to visit.
How you doing?
That I don't even know.
How you doing, big boy? He's our buddy. We kind of watch out for him the best way we can. I guess he's just not a dog. He's a spirit. We're all family now. I'll see you tomorrow.
And we've had him like in the truck going through town, and people are like, Bruno,
they're yelling
Bruno!
and waving.
You are something. You are something, Bruno.
More friends than a newly announced lottery winner.
Okay, there's your water, baby boy.
And Bruno needs all the friends he can get.
I'm just shocked that he hasn't been hit.
He's got to have a guardian angel.
But as that stiffening body can attest, Bruno can't dodge time.
Yeah, and he's getting old, so he's not going to be around a lot longer. Hey, bud.
A dog this loved might even be in line for a monument.
Don't you buy your best friend treats?
If Bruno's shrine
He's just a special dog.
hadn't already been built.
I saw a statue of him over there.
He got the official designation a few years back. Yep.
It's just amazing. Just amazing.
Another scratch, another drink, another meal. And Bruno's day in town is done. The life of a dog with friends in road places.
He just comes to town and visits.
Boyd Hooper, KARE 11 News, Longville. Kids in War Road don't arrive in the world with their skates already laced, but almost.
I was born to skate, my mom said.
Anderson Meyer's birthright. Growing up in Hockeytown, USA.
Yep.
Till hockey went away.
They said that we can't go skating.
Couldn't skate at the start of hockey season when COVID shut down War Road's arenas. News Hockeytown, USA didn't take standing still. No indoor rinks, no problem. War Road just cut its own path. 21 feet wide, snaking through town on the War Road River, an ice path 2.5 miles long.
We're in Hockeytown, USA, so go big.
As Jared Olafson tells it, this started with a slew of COVID-inspired outdoor ice rinks.
I have a rink in my backyard on the river. My brother has a rink in his backyard on the river. And then the neighbor has a rink. And one day, the neighbor's daughter said, "Can you connect our rinks? There's no school, there's no hockey. Connect the rinks." So we connected the rinks and decided, why even stop? Keep going.
And after going and going and going, people started coming.
20 years since I've had skates on. We had to get them out and get them sharpened, and we're going to give it a whirl.
Can you try 10.5?
Yeah. Skate rentals at Docks Harbor Inn. Food stands. Bonfires.
It is bringing people together. It's been huge for our community.
And all it took was a global pandemic to remind War Road of the winter resource running right under its nose.
We happen to have a place right on the river here all day, nonstop, from right away in the morning all the way until the sun is setting.
Weekly, volunteers man fire hoses to keep the massive rink smooth.
Just said, let's do it.
While Sam Goulet is among a team of high schoolers that helps tend to the daily brushing. All of which inspired Steve Christensen.
65 was the last year I played.
To pull from the basement his high school skates.
Pretty awesome. I mean, those things are about twice my age.
Well, I used to think that in the Netherlands and where they have canals would be so neat to be able to skate on. And now we have it here.
Here, were kids all but born on skates. are witnessing the rebaptizing of Hockeytown, USA on a river. School in a classroom.
I have 14 now in the waiting rooms.
Teacher in a box.
This guy my dad popped on.
And 21 kindergartners are where their online experience is also defined
Hi, Mrs. Klein.
by what's beyond the screen
You're at the doctor's house.
of Kelly Klein.
I am at the doctor's house. You're right.
The doctor's house is 5-year-old speak for Lakes Medical Center, Wyoming, Minnesota,
Hello. Hello.
where this morning the kindergarten class from Falcon Heights Elementary has accompanied their teacher to chemotherapy.
Woo woo. Go Raina. Go Raina.
They're helping me be strong because it's real easy to go down the why me.
Kelly has every right to go down that road. A 32-year teacher at the same school she attended, a wife and mom who first battled ovarian cancer 5 years ago, then went back to her life until cancer found Kelly again.
Just had a really bad feeling that something might be up.
Something cruelly confirmed on the 5th anniversary of Kelly's last chemo treatment.
Now that it's returned, it's not curable, it's terminal.
So, what to do next?
Uno, dos, tres. Show your board.
She is my inspiration every day.
Beth Benke, school principal, knows most in Kelly's shoes would take a leave.
Take a look at your recording sheet.
But Kelly came to me and said, please don't make me. I said, absolutely not. Let's figure it out together.
Parents were notified their children would see nurses coming and going.
It's amazing to watch it.
Cliff, did you have a different idea?
Opening doors for discussion
I think it might turn yellow a little bit.
between Cliff Fergus and his parents.
He has cancer.
She has cancer. What are they giving her when she's there?
Treatment.
Treatment? What is that? Like some kind of medicine? Yeah.
Congratulations, Lucky Duck.
The chemo won't cure Kelly. The aim to slow her cancer down.
The last time around, I had a posse of friends that went with me to chemo every week. And with COVID, I can't have that. So what better way to spend 4 or 5 hours than with 5-year-olds?
Your new posse.
Yes, exactly.
Kelly's hair and eyebrows are starting to thin,
The gingerbread girl.
a topic she'll soon be addressing with her class.
I want them to see that cancer isn't a death sentence.
Woo, woo, woo.
You can still be happy and playful and silly and funny and energized.
Abe, do you have something to share?
It's a Lego Star Wars toy.
Abe's mom, Sarah Derdowski.
Couldn't have asked for a better teacher. I can't imagine what she would do in person. If she can do this from there.
Ready, scientists? You are looking good.
I give them a lot of cheers. I'm their best cheerleader.
Woohoo!
So that they can know that they can do anything in this world. Maybe they'll invent a cure for cancer. Wouldn't that be wonderful?
And they'll think of you when they do.
I hope so.
Wowie, wow, wow, scientists.
Kelly Klein,
That was so smart.
teaching while she teaches.
All right, I'll see you in...
Boyd Hubert, Carol Evan News, Wyoming.
Bye-bye. Mwah.
The village people aren't the only ones who've noticed. YMCAs have a rhythm.
I got a little Frank Sinatra in this one.
Doug Kafka
I want you to know
has found the beat too.
all the way.
I see him all the time.
I'm in heaven.
I've never seen him not sing.
Down by the schoolyard.
2 miles a day, he circles the track
Stormy weather.
like an album of greatest hits
Tell you that I was
on a turntable.
to tell you that you're marvelous.
Did he happen to tell you how old he is?
I'm 87.
Roughly the number of years
There's a pawn shop around the corner.
the retired steelworker has been singing.
And I ain't got a thing left to hock.
He walks in our lobby. He sings to the front desk staff.
Good morning, good morning.
Every day. Yep.
When we walk hand in hand,
I like being serenaded on the treadmill.
eyes will see only you.
Doug will sing to anybody
Hand in hand,
at any time.
let me go.
But there's no replacing the somebody
She's telling me we'll be wed.
he most loved, serenading.
She was a sweetheart. Yep, she was my honey.
Doug lost Franny in 2013,
It's 57 years we were together.
and still every day,
I never forget.
Doug says good morning to Franny and God.
They're in my heart. I'm going to Graceland.
Then
Graceland.
Doug sings.
Memphis, Tennessee, I'm going to Graceland.
I heard him first.
Sherry Rosenberger first heard Doug singing in the pharmacy at Hudson's Target store.
Tell you that you're marvelous.
And then they called me up to the counter, and a couple minutes later, I turned around and he was gone.
No need to be caught, Roy.
I went up and down the aisles looking for him.
Sherry inquired on a community Facebook page about the man she'd heard.
And my Facebook just blew up. Everyone knows him. Goodwill, Fleet Farm, Walmart, Aldi's, singing. Yeah, he sings to everybody.
I'd swear I was falling in love.
Which brought back Sherry's memories
When you opened it,
of another crooner.
are you mine?
It just reminds me of my dad.
Sherry's dad passed away in 2016.
I miss him so much, and he loved to sing. Loved to sing.
Sherry's dad would have appreciated
Hi, Doug.
this.
I'm Sherry.
Sure.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for you.
First time together
I've been looking all over for you.
since that day at Target. So what's a crooner to do?
You sigh, the song begins. You speak and I hear violins. It's magic. My heart deserts the sky and rush to
I'm gonna
nestles.
cry. That was my dad's favorite song. That's Doris Day.
Yeah. Oh, the golden one.
Both missing loved ones,
Things that happen aren't all.
neither anticipating this.
That world becomes.
Why?
It's magic.
Why we are granted unexpected connections is something we can only surmise.
All to myself alone.
Better to just appreciate
Hand in hand.
the syncopated
The
rhythm
wonderland.
of life.
It's magic.
Boyd Hoopert, KARE 11 News, Hudson, Wisconsin.
It's my love for you.
Some details of our history are almost too painful to unlock. But we enter anyway.
That's sad.
So the stories, unlike the lives surrendered here, are not forever lost.
There it is. That's the mouth into the Soderbergh root cellar.
On October 12, 1918, Minnesota endured its deadliest natural disaster, a series of wildfires forever attached to names such as Kettle River, Cloquet, and Moose Lake. The driest summer in nearly 50 years, strong winds and desert-like humidity all conspired 100 years ago this week. The Soderberghs, Scandinavian immigrants, huddled with their children in the root cellar as the fire approached.
3 generations plus a sister-in-law that was visiting.
14 Soderberghs, seemingly protected by stone and soil.
Yeah.
Lois Johnson thinks about them often from her home overlooking the old Soderbergh farm.
They see this black smoke in the air and think, well, it's not going to come here, and then all of a sudden it does, and where do you go? What do you do? You know, they hadn't thought about that.
No one had. certainly not those who tried to outrun the fire. The roads became littered with their failed attempts. In contrast, the Soderbergs' choice seemed sensible.
They decided to be here, that they were going to survive in the root cellar. And of course, they made the wrong choice.
Many others made the same mistake, crawling into root cellars and abandoned wells, which the hungry fire quickly robbed of oxygen.
Hollow ceiling and the walls are perfectly intact, with the meat hooks hanging there. What it must have been like for the searchers to come and find these people there and sitting there sleeping, and they're gone. They're not living anymore.
The fire destroyed Cloquet, Moose Lake too, though hundreds of townspeople survived by fleeing into the lake, some without exiting their cars.
This is the Moose Lake Fire Monument.
The Soderberg adults and children were laid to rest here in a mass grave dug by hand days after the mayor of Moose Lake had put out an urgent plea to the governor for 300 caskets.
The old ones always said that if the fire decided to kill you, it would. Or if it wanted to let you go, that's what it did. You had no choice over it.
More than 450 Minnesotans died in half a day. A clump of trees surrounding the root cellar is all that remains of the Soderberg place, a sacred spot where the story is remembered.
Yes, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And flowers grow. Boyd Hupert, Carol 11 News, Moose Lake.
You can hear my birds out there. The robins and the cardinals are singing right now.
For someone who knits to relax,
I'm as attention deficit as they come.
Jeannie Sumnick works it.
It's obsessive. It's obsessive.
Every day after work, you'll find her on this porch.
We're rocking.
Her passion on her lap.
Baby stuff.
And also
lots of baby stuff.
On her grandkids.
Well, there's always a different project. My son-in-law is the only one who doesn't get socks from me because he's allergic to wool.
But this isn't just a story about knitting after work.
Good morning, everybody.
Because Jeannie Sumnick believes
to further ensure his success,
to knit
about 3 feet in length
is to share.
Show me with your hands if you're not knitting. 3 feet is a yard, right? It has been the biggest class of knitters I've ever had.
Guess what I'm making?
Stop at this stitch right here and go down and pull that thread up for you. And I'll show you how it's done. Okay.
All of this started with one lesson for one girl.
And she taught me
among Mrs. Sumnick's 3rd and 4th graders.
Shoot, you've got my good crochet hook.
At Edina's Countryside Elementary.
I saw, I think, Owen and Andrew. They were knitting, so I just wanted to learn how to knit.
Soon, almost all of them
the needle
were hooked.
It goes behind, and then you wrap it around from the right.
These days, if they're not talking about knitting,
Julia, look at this. Doesn't this look cool?
They're using their hands
very peaceful
to write poems.
Knitting really rules.
About knitting.
Nicely done. And that's the knitting game.
Back in December, they raised $200 for Kids Against Hunger.
And these are both bookmarks.
By selling bookmarks and coffee cozies they knitted.
And then this gets sewn up like this and fits over a coffee mug. There they are, putting money in the bucket every morning. They'd take their knitting home at night. They'd come back to school the next morning with 3 and 4 bookmarks. I'm going to need you to put away your knitting.
Not every school subject is knitting conducive.
We're going to be watching the captions in the story.
But Mrs. Sumnick believes something calming happened.
During his first full season,
The needles and yarn are placed in busy 3rd and 4th grade fingers.
It was his 62nd home run of the season.
I take my knitting to workshops.
Far longer home runs.
Had somebody say to me at one time,
This one, however,
they thought it was rude that I was knitting, and I said, if I weren't knitting, I wouldn't be paying attention. You want to be really firm with it.
Calming,
pull it off,
it turns out,
and you pull this
is sometimes a necessary prescription for the teacher, too.
There's no good time to get cancer.
2 weeks before we sat in her porch, Jeannie Sumnick was diagnosed with breast cancer.
she's leaving to have some surgery.
Lessons shared in the classroom
This is what I did at the doctor's office yesterday.
also apply outside it.
And the nurse said, we don't normally get blood pressure that low for these meetings. And I said, I'm perfectly calm. I think you just dropped a stitch. Hang on a sec.
On her last day with her class before surgery,
Like this.
in her last year before retirement,
I just tie it on for now.
it's already apparent
I'll probably knit for the rest of my life.
there's a little of Mrs. Sumnick in her students.
I'll always think of her when I knit.
I love that yarn. I can't wait to see it all knit up.
If all goes well,
Bye, honey.
she'll be
Take
back
take
for
care of
more
her on the bus.
hugs
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
before
All right.
the school year ends.
Love you guys.
Back in a class, bound for
right.
life.
Take care, guys.
Boyd Hoopert, Care 11 News, Edina.
Bye. Say hi to your sister.
Of course we did.
On the outside, everything seemed just fine. But inside, Maggie Crone needed a sign.
Hey, we got work.
It's about time.
There we go.
It took 46 years to come to this point.
46 years, and still navigating.
It's okay.
What happened
It's okay.
on West 66th Street.
That's Eddie.
Eddie Crone was 9, second oldest of Maggie's 4 children.
That's Eddie and Debbie.
Eddie and Debbie,
I was 11.
Bobby,
I was 8.
and Billy.
I was
6.
6.
January 20th, 1972, just after supper, the Crone kids and their mom were walking 3 blocks to a book fair at their school when they reached West 66th.
I remember pushing the button and walking across the street and seeing the yellow line, and boom, Eddie was gone.
Maggie's Eddie was thrown more than 100 feet by the force of the car driven by another school parent who ran the light.
I remember the sound. The sound was bad.
Yeah.
The whole family rode in the ambulance to the hospital, where Eddie's mother forced her way past a nurse to get to her son.
And there he lay. And his body was so cold. So cold.
After the funeral, Eddie's brothers and sisters were sent for 10 days to an uncle's house in Wisconsin. While at their own home, relatives removed nearly every trace of Eddie: his bed, his clothes, his shoes.
It's everything.
Everything was gone.
Yeah.
Everything was gone, including him.
You never talked about it.
No. No.
She was coached by everybody else not to talk about it.
No grief counselors, no family therapy.
God, times have changed. Wow.
This is, don't talk about it. If you get upset or get lonely, just go do it by yourself so the kids don't see you. So the kids never saw me mourning for Eddie.
Maggie shredded the autopsy
Das ist das Reportkeit.
and kept her memories to herself.
It was never talked about. Even in school, students were told not to mention it to us when we came back to school.
To this day, Maggie struggles,
I never told him.
knowing someone else told her children their brother had died.
Why?
Maggie needed a sign. And 46 years after losing Eddie, she got one. The sign was Bob's idea. By adopting this section of 66th Street, he'd hoped to honor his brother. But it's become more.
It's a new beginning. It's a new beginning. Yeah.
The opening the whole family needed to talk about Eddie.
Now we can.
So 2 days before their first trash pickup,
9, 10, 11, 12.
Maggie counted the steps with all 3 of her surviving children to Eddie's grave.
I'm sorry I never talked to you about it, you guys.
Mom, it's not your fault. You didn't know. You didn't know. It was a different time and day. I love you, Mom.
I love you guys more than you ever know.
Just one more hurdle. 2 blocks from Maggie's house lies the intersection where Eddie took his last steps.
She has never crossed that street since January 20th, 1972.
It's healing for her.
We gotta call Mama.
Probably all of us.
I did it!
Maggie got her sign.
I did it!
Finally, she's ready to pick up and move on.
He walked with us today.
Boyd Hubert, Care 11 News.
Yeah.
Richfield.
He's back.
The words date back to a time when English was a foreign language. When the prairies, the sun, and the wind were described in Dakota. That this native language of Minnesota is alive at all in a park in Renville County is not unlike the early stages of the bald eagle's flight back from near extinction.
Yeah, our family is all in here.
This is where the Dakota language
my grandma's here.
had ended.
My Kunshi, she spoke Dakota.
For Dallas Goldtooth's family.
Cup, she spoke Dakota. My Tumi there. My Dekshi, George, spoke Dakota. They all spoke Dakota, but, they never taught my mom.
The loss of the language is one legacy of the era of Indian boarding schools. This school in Pipestone, Minnesota, and dozens of others throughout the country served a government policy of separating Indian children from their families, traditions, and language. Assimilating the natives was the objective of Richard Henry Pratt, an influential boarding school advocate who famously said in 1892, "Kill the Indian in him and save the man." The philosophies of Pratt and others like him were like a hacksaw to a centuries-long chain that had linked the transfer of the Dakota language from one generation to the next. Unlike the bald eagle, there is no Endangered Species Act to revive a language. Those efforts have begun on a scale less grand.
I just got to make sure I'm all on.
In small pockets across the state.
My head, Nina.
Yvonne Leith is an elder in southwestern Minnesota's Upper Sioux community.
Waka.
She's being recorded as part of an effort to capture on video the state's few remaining Dakota speakers. When the project was launched 3 years ago, organizers calculated that the number of fluent speakers in Minnesota who'd grown up with the language had dwindled to fewer than a dozen.
First grade.
Since then, several of those,
They were so happy.
including Genevieve Labatt and Gary Cavender, have also passed away.
Dakota up here. A pet. And chance. We don't speak that devil's language here. We speak English. And then here up here, akan amape. Nina Xumayam.
Through the same project, elders like Yvonne are working with young apprentices like Dallas,
I still don't know what horse I'm riding.
who then share the language with those even younger. Broken links in the chain reconnected.
Which is left. Which is right.
For hundreds of years now, the control of our lives has been dictated by the decisions of others.
Money!
And we're finally in a place as a people and as individuals where we can start taking control of ourselves.
I see this as like we're trying to rebuild that Tiwahe and that Tioshpaya, that family and extended family component.
Teresa Peterson is executive director of the project known as Dakota Wichoha, meaning way of life.
And so what you're seeing is that reclaiming of kinship and the way that we treat each other. That's the way of life.
I can eventually pass it down to like my children. I think it's a big responsibility.
A generational passage already renewed for Dallas Goldtooth.
This is Mahbia Ilelia when she lights the sky on fire. Ihawo, smile. There you go. How can you see the world as a Dakota if you can't define the world with Dakota words? And that's where we're trying to get back.
Count Dallas among those convinced it's not too late to rescue the language of the Dakota and save for the future the voice of Minnesota. Boyd Hooper, Carol 11 News, Renville County. For everything, there is a season. The Old Testament says it's so.
We're going.
It's also something Mark Edling knows as he brings in this year's crop of potatoes.
The smell of dirt.
While Mark runs the harvester,
I've always loved it.
brothers Jeff
This is the big show.
and Brett
All right.
tend to the sales
Yeah.
and sorting and bagging. A familiar drumbeat each harvest on the Edling farm, yet this season is different.
Very much so.
The brothers' first harvest without their dad.
Yep.
Jerome Edling, in hospice and dying, had prayed to see just one more crop come in. By just a month, he came up short.
Oh, man.
That this hurts so much speaks to the value the Edlings place on family.
My grandpa Stanley and my great-grandpa John Rydeen, both were truck farmers, hauled everything down to the farmer's market down in North Minneapolis. This is my Uncle John.
A family.
He was 5 years older than my father, Jerome.
That's held strong.
I think it's fun.
In good times.
Maybe that's why I love farming.
And bad.
My injury happened on January 20, 2010.
Mark Edling was helping a friend build a shed when he fell from scaffolding.
So then I became a C7 quadriplegic by breaking my neck.
3 weeks in the Twin Cities in a medically induced coma. 5 months in Colorado rehabbing.
Did you think you were done farming? Yep, 100%.
But a year later,
all right,
farming lured Mark back.
Farming, things break. It's a challenge to fix it. You get up here? I'm broken. I got to fix it.
Okay. Put him in there, it was like a duck on water, away he went. I think we all were smiling.
As fate would have it, Mark regained enough hand movement to work the controls.
Just kind of punch them and push them around, and the people around me helping my truck drivers.
This harvest is Mark's 8th since his accident.
Once I'm in there, I felt normal. I felt normal again.
He's got a pretty good drive, so you're not going to keep him down.
Same for Brett Edling.
We're closing it up.
Left deaf before these cochlear implants by a blood disease for which he still undergoes chemotherapy.
We're all going to be dealt some sort of challenge in our life. Just depends on what you want to do with it.
And what you want to do, if you're an Edling, is farm.
He's giving me signals to go forward, backwards, in, out.
Bennett Edling,
give him some signals.
Mark's 16-year-old nephew, has farming in his blood, too.
I'm definitely learning a lot from him. I've been watching him since I've been really young, but he's a pretty good teacher, and I'm excited to take over.
So, it continues.
He's learning. Eventually, he's going to be in this chair.
There have been days amid the pain when the Edlings have struggled to find a reason. But never have they stopped living for this season.
You just keep going.
Boyd Hooper, Carol 11 News, Sherburne County. If words were cast in bronze and brass, you'd already know this story. But these words have faded, like the greatness of the man they once described, into the obscurity of a northeast Minneapolis basement.
This is where John Donaldson's legacy resides today.
The basement of Pete Gorton.
I study this all the time. I think about this all the time.
And the legacy of the greatest baseball player you've never heard of. 20 years before Jackie Robinson broke the Major League color barrier, John Donaldson was breaking it in Bertha. Denied access to the major leagues after 2 solid years in the Negro Leagues, the left-handed hurler was lured away by the money to small-town Minnesota.
In 1924, he makes more than all the players on his team, all the payouts to the other teams they played against combined.
He filled the stands.
Every single time. And the pockets of everyone there. If you had the famous John Donaldson on your team, it was guaranteed to be talked about statewide.
Bertha and Lismore, Melrose, St. Cloud, and Fairmont each signed on Donaldson for a season or more. Barnstorming and exhibitions took Donaldson to 550 North American cities.
If he had been white,
he would have had a profound major league career, and he would be a household name right now.
But no one erects bronze statues, even for dominant pitchers, if you've spent your career town hopping. At best, after death, you're rediscovered.
This is just one of the file boxes
by Pete Gorton.
I've been working on this every day for over 18 years.
18 years.
Here's Fremont, Nebraska.
Scouring small-town papers and museums.
Jamestown, North Dakota.
Unearthing bits and pieces of Donaldson's 33-year career.
Here's a perfect game he throws out in Plentywood, Montana. Up to now, we have found 14 no-hitters, 505 wins. We have 5,039 verified strikeouts, and every single one of those are in these boxes.
From Fergus Falls, 39 seconds of previously unknown film of Donaldson pitching.
He strikes out 18 guys that day.
And from across Minnesota.
1924 selfies.
Pictures dug from family albums.
I'm convinced they're all over the place, but people just don't know who that black guy in the picture is with great-great-grandpa.
But the guy with John Donaldson on his men's league uniform.
All right, boys, here we go, 2 down.
Won't be done until everyone knows.
So his legacy is totally buried here.
Everyone.
Yeah, left-handed pitcher, greatest black pitcher of all time. He was obviously a major leaguer, not in the major leagues, and not in the major leagues because of his skin color, and that's part of the legacy that we need to restore.
A century after John Donaldson's story was first written,
right,
Pete Gorton is writing a wrong.
How can we close the lid on him again?
Boyd Hubert, KARE 11 News, Minneapolis.
Still 6 degrees out there, right?
31 rush hour miles stand between the country home near River Falls, Wisconsin.
I don't enjoy traffic, no.
And the Eagan, Minnesota offices of Thomson Reuters.
Just a steady stream of cars.
After 36 years of inserting key in ignition, today's commute will be Jim Simonet's last.
It's going to be a change.
Some men run from retirement. Jim Simonet is running to it.
I want some moonlight tonight. That should be good.
Jim told no one of his plan for his final commute to the office. Though after an unusually long Sunday workout, his wife Sue figured him out.
And then the next day I said, I'm on to you. I know what you're going to do. You're going to run to work.
To arrive by 8 a.m., Jim left for the office at midnight.
I've got about 5 out of the way. Just about a marathon to go.
Why would he try to do something like this? Because he can.
Sue knows her husband well.
Life doesn't quit when you retire.
This isn't just a run, but a 31-mile personal statement.
Not to me, it's just a chance to go on to the next excellent adventure. Coming out of Prescott.
When he sets a goal, and when he sets his mind to do something, he does it.
Like he did in his 30s, when this former 210-pound Pabst-drinking Marlboro smoker changed his ways and started running marathons with Sue. But never before at 6 degrees and 62 years old.
Eleanor Roosevelt said, do one thing every day that scares you. This is my day. Hey, that's downhill to Hastings.
Jim crossed the Mississippi into Hastings, Minnesota at 2:30 a.m. Not yet halfway to work.
15 miles. Get some coffee.
Here you go. Thanks.
A few minutes to reflect with Sue on a career at an end.
What a fun ride.
Yep, it has been.
A sip of warmth, and back out in the cold. Down highways and past city streets till his fellow commuters begin to wake.
All these people going where I won't have to pretty soon. Rosemont, Redwood Grove Heights, Egan.
Jim's pace is slowing now,
Okay.
and then he has to stop.
Yeah, it's a cramp.
9 miles from his goal, alone and in pain along a highway, Jim Simonet will not quit.
Just one foot in front of the other.
Once he saw a man who had collapsed at a marathon finish line.
They had him on a stretcher. Boy, he had that finisher t-shirt and he was holding it to his chest. Whoa.
All about the finish for Jim, too.
Now we're getting to my favorite time of the morning when the sun comes up.
Facing lights out on his working career,
I got the end in sight.
Jim Simonet ran to daylight.
Half mile?
Then as hundreds of his coworkers streamed into the office, not so much as a horn honk. For an engineering machinist at a publishing company who kept this part of his retirement day to himself.
What a long, strange trip it's been.
Inside the Thomson Reuters gate, handshakes and a cake await. Just icing, for Jim Simonet has already reached the end and the beginning of his race.
It's been a good run.
Boyd Hooper, Channel 11 News, Egan. He is called to the lakes by loons.
In the fog, it can be a task to find him.
Dr. Walter Piper, who's devoted his career to loon research, has been returning to the lakes of Wisconsin's Oneida County for nearly 3 decades.
Oh, here they are.
But the discovery of the summer belongs to one of Dr. Piper's newest interns.
So you didn't know what you'd found?
No, I had no idea.
So new was Evelyn Doolittle. She'd never before seen a loon chick.
All 3 chicks still intact.
On another lake, she might have spotted this rare brood of 3.
This is pretty impressive.
But what Dr. Piper's intern saw that June day was even more unlikely.
I got back and I said to my coworkers, wow, chicks sure look a lot like ducklings.
Looked like a duck because it was.
Right from the start, I knew this was something special.
Linda Grenzer, a Wisconsin loon photographer, was summoned to document what Dr. Piper's intern had seen.
The mom's on the left, the dad's got the duckling on its back.
Not possible, she thought.
They don't like them.
The two are natural enemies, to the point loons have been known to kill baby ducklings.
The loon is the head honcho of the lake, and the ducks better move for it.
So what gives?
Very protective of his duckling.
Turns out the loon pair does.
It's mind-boggling.
Dr. Piper's team,
It's never happened before.
found evidence the loon parents had hatched a chick of their own, most likely killed by a predator shortly after birth, about the time a duckling became separated from its mother.
It must have happened the same day.
They needed each other badly.
Out of loss came a family.
This is their child, yes, their chick, and they're doing everything they can to protect it.
And with more trips to the lake, the surprises kept coming.
The duckling started diving, which they don't do.
Not mallards.
It learned it from the loons.
Yet there was Linda shooting video as the baby mallard stayed underwater for 10 seconds till it popped up right there.
Loons do it, ducks don't. Except for this one.
Nor are mallards big fish eaters.
I just don't think any of us believed it. We were just in awe.
Till another of Dr. Piper's interns snapped these photos of a little muskie being served.
They don't eat fish.
To a duckling eating fish like it's Friday night at a Wisconsin tavern.
I'm seeing something that I'll probably never see in my entire life again.
Not even 2 weeks ago, on her last visit, Linda snapped these photos of a well-fed and growing duckling.
You can see, look how low that back is. All duck, hardly any loon showing.
If two rival species can make this work, maybe there are lessons beyond the lake.
You know, we humans look at other humans a little bit different from ourselves and see only the differences. You know, maybe humans could could learn a lesson or two from them.
Nothing is beyond imagining once you've witnessed the impossible. Boyd Hubert, KARE 11 News, Tomahawk, Wisconsin.
Hi, Mikey. How are you?
They gather
How are you, blind mate?
as men pushing 70.
Have you had any hip issues at all?
Feeling their age.
Where did the time go?
And nostalgic.
Right there. That's Lou Catronio.
Coach Catronio.
That's the coach.
Their Johnson High School hockey coach.
He'd assemble everybody and he'd tell them, boys, the first cut is the haircut.
The kind of past tense gathering.
You know, he's always fair.
That often happens after the funeral for a beloved coach.
Bobby?
Just one small difference.
Hey, Coach!
Hey, Lou.
Lou Catronio.
Yeah, that's it.
Is still with them.
Hey, Roy Rogers, how you doing?
Monthly for the past 4 years. The skaters for the 67 and 68 Johnson Governors.
Coach, how you doing, buddy?
Have been taking their coach
Hi, Mr. Spice.
to lunch.
You're all retired, but he's still coach.
Right. I don't have the courage yet at almost 69 to call him Louie.
Scott Franson started this.
And are you?
We just all enjoy being with him.
That's the team.
Coach Catronio brought out their best on the ice.
Lost one game all year. That was to Greenway Coleraine in the championship game.
But also planted seeds from which they've reaped their whole lives.
Being a good person.
Out-of-town tournament over a Sunday, Coach would see that every player was delivered
Sport coats.
to the church of his choice.
Remember where you had to make your bed? He made you make your bed in the hotel room.
Everyone at the table has a story.
Senior year, halfway through, I had a heart condition that took me out of the game. And he was the first person to call me that night I got home from the doctor. He let me go in the locker room. He took me on the trip to Roseau. He introduced me at assemblies as part of the team, and he just made me feel like I was a part of the team.
Never just his skaters.
He was there at my wedding. He was there when my parents passed away, and he was there when I lost my youngest son 5 years ago.
And now, even at 88, still their coach and his kids.
This is all about the family. This is all about the family.
It's just like he's your second father, really.
He grounded a lot of kids that could have gone to different directions, and that could have been any one of us.
Coach Catronio hoisted their last trophy more than half a century ago and still hasn't let them down.
Hey, I'm as close as the telephone. If you ever need anything, give me a holler.
He'll always be the coach.
See you, Scotty. Thanks, buddy.
Boyd Hubert, KARE 11 News.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
Vadnais Heights.
Thank you. Maybe we can play golf.
Not a thing amiss on the Schultz farm. Not the crops, not the snow-capped mountain range of grain bin tops. Old MacDonald familiar. Till what sounds like a tractor turns out to be the Schultz's Zamboni.
Every year. Yep.
Every December, the Schultz machine shed is cleared of its tractors and trucks to make way for pucks. That's Stacy Schultz Pope driving the 1962 Zamboni.
I've run combines and tractors before, so it's not the most difficult thing.
The used ice resurfacer her husband purchased when he built this shed, allegedly for farm equipment.
The building was built for farming, yep.
With measurements that just happened to mimic a regulation hockey rink.
He loved hockey.
That's Paul Schultz in the middle with his men's league team, the Mankato Blue Bricks. Leave it to Paul the hockey fanatic who just happened to find visiting her aunt, the only Canadian in town.
First date was a Blue Bricks hockey game.
But the farmer outdid himself when he built in his shed the hockey rink,
I'm going to practice.
then invited
Go Blake!
everyone in.
Oh, good pass!
From mites to men's league, the Schultz Ice Rink has become the Mariucci Arena of Madison Lake.
You got it, Deej.
Open daily for skating, without a penny charged for ice time.
This is family ice. This is what hockey's all about. This is, it's going to the barn.
Just as Paul had envisioned it 13 years ago.
And how long was he able to enjoy it?
Just that winter. We just had one winter.
Paul was planting corn the following April, 51 years old and in the field, when his heart stopped.
Got a call that they were coming to pick me up to go to the hospital. So,
Stacy tried,
yeah,
but didn't make it in time to tell her husband goodbye.
no,
She came home to 5 children, the oldest 11, the youngest a year old.
I had the wake, and his whole hockey team, the Blue Bricks, came through. All I could say to them was, we need to get it going next winter. I need your help, and we need to keep this rink going, because it's what Paul would want.
Cross with both feet, guys.
Which is exactly what they've done. Each year, family and friends set up the dasher boards, still bearing the advertisements from the arena where Paul purchased them used, while the high school hockey team spends hours caulking the cracks so the concrete floor will hold water.
Go, go, go!
All so Paul's dream can keep coming true.
I know he's smiling down. I know he's smiling down on the farm and on this building.
It's something he really loved. It's something that she has and we have to remember, and
I think it's the best memory we have.
Dig, dig, dig!
When Paul Schultz broke ground for a farm shed, his hockey rink was already constructed in the back of his mind.
Thanks again.
He just didn't know back then. He was also building his legacy.
It's not just a shed. No, it's not just a shed.
Boyd Hubert, KARE 11 News, Madison Lake. To a professional musician like Susan Janda, instruments are like children, to be cared for and nurtured.
There's potential in here too.
And that's not where the comparison ends.
Hello, hello.
It just leads us,
Hey, kiddo.
to the shop of Will Bartroff, who spent most of his 53 years as a maker of stringed instruments, working quietly, alone.
Yeah, just go ahead.
But no more.
Come in from this way.
This way?
Yeah.
The master has a protege,
Yeah, come from the other side.
Ben Milne. Susan Janda's son.
Like going with me right from the start.
On trips to Will's shop, Susan's little boy would tag along.
He was interested in the way it smelled and the way it looked and all the stuff that was there.
One day, I was 9 years old. I was leaving the shop right out that door with my mom, and Will said, "Hey kiddo, you want to make a violin?" And I was like, sure.
At 9, Ben made the violin Allison Ostrander has rented from him for performances with the Mill City Opera.
And they're like, "What do you mean? His violin, like the violin he plays on?" I said, "No, he made it."
Made it. Then made a viola he gave to his mother for Christmas. This instrument she too plays professionally.
If a maker is making their instrument with a certain kind of love, that some of that gets in there too.
But why?
Not so fast, not so fast. Just slower.
Why is a master luthier,
There, that's better.
the maker of 450 stringed instruments, played in orchestras around the globe?
Awesome.
Oh, it's good.
Why is he, in the 4th year of a mentorship, with a boy
I'll do the ribs.
Okay.
who just turned 13.
This is the first plane I ever bought. This cost $30 and I was 11.
Will Bartroff teaches.
All the way on the ribs?
Yes.
Because at 10 years of age, someone taught Will his life's passion.
This is in the Milwaukee Symphony. Did this 26 years ago.
I love the back.
It seems to be a place that Ben is really comfortable.
Get it on there tight.
He can be his age and he can be reaching.
Should I put it down?
Yeah, no. Just put it here.
For what he's reaching won't be clear for a few more years.
Use this one.
But the master is now in his 60s with aching hands from rheumatoid arthritis.
He can have the whole place. I don't care. I'm going to go to Barbados and just sit on the white beach drinking Mai Tais.
They laugh. But anything is possible
I never want to say goodbye to this place.
in relationships bonded by heartstrings.
Yes. Yeah, we just put that back, okay?
Boyd Hupert, KARE 11 News,
Applause, applause.
St. Paul.
Oh, man.
Some years, spring needs a little nudge.
Trying to find home plate here in the snow.
Right there? A wake up.
90 feet.
A kick in the grass. But Elk River now has proof if you plow it, spring's disciples will come.
I mean, this is like the home opener, right?
Right. Just not the home opener. You're thinking. Oh, they'll be running for home, all right. 384 times.
We got the Sandlot Marathon.
The Sandlot Marathon, 26.2 miles. Round, a baseball diamond.
Lots of left-hand turns. Look, another left-hand turn. Here we go. Left-hand turn. We got another one coming up here. Left-hand turn.
Jody Hollenbach is among 37 marathoners spread across 2 fields,
That way, that way.
with a half marathon and a 5K taking place on a third.
Faster, Jody! Woo! Why? Why not?
That's more or less what the organizers thought when they came up with this.
You know, any idiot can run a marathon. You know, it takes a special kind of idiot to run the Sandlot Marathon, and so that's kind of who we have out here today.
Mark Smith and Matt McCarty are both runners and baseball fans who dared to ask, what if?
The last place runner and the first place runner are never more than, 180 feet from each other. There's not another race where you get that much time spent with the leader.
Still, a Sandlot Marathon is not without challenges. That chip reader, tested on a spinning ceiling fan, records each runner's trips around the bases.
Here we have to keep track 384 times.
It's high tide. This is probably the least amount of work I've ever had to do to spectate a distance race.
There's some that took it all to heart and they're in their little baseball outfits. Way to go, Amanda! Nice job! Woo! It's Rockford Peaches. Dottie Henson baseball uniform from the movie League of Their Own.
Amanda Miller skirted puddles as the course made its spring change from ice to soup.
Doesn't take long to lose the feeling in your feet.
Amanda, take heart.
Everybody in.
A baseball-themed marathon
7th inning stretch.
3 strikes here.
comes with an intermission.
Get back in the game! Get back in the game!
And also, unfortunately, energy drinks
Cheers!
spiked with hot dog juice.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Long Minnesota winters have a way of bringing out our crazy.
Get some sun, get some water, get some mud, make them feel like boys of summer out here today.
After all, summer
Nice!
is just around the corner.
Way to go, Amanda! Woo!
Boyd Hupert, KARE 11 News. Elk River.
That was something.
Rockefellers inherit fortunes from their grandparents.
I did get a shot one time at a 2.62.
You didn't know what fighter you're going to be assigned to?
Nick Atkins is heir.
It's not like today.
To his grandfather's stories.
Somehow they'd passed the word that if we were going to win that war, I had to get back to England.
Far back as Nick can remember, he's been hearing about Grandpa Bob Jorgensen's 35 missions as a World War II fighter pilot.
Yeah, people would start sharing their grandparents' stories, and I would just be like, well, let me share mine right here. Tell me about some of the awards.
But look closely at that lighter empty spot, top center of your screen, and you'll notice one medal is missing. The wings that now belong to the pilot of that Air Force T-38 jet.
Second Lieutenant Nicholas Atkins.
The same pilot who just graduated top of his class academically from flight school at Laughlin Air Force Base in Texas, where he was presented with these 70-year-old wings by the 92-year-old grandpa.
And Grandpa, here's your plane.
Who first earned them.
I had 6 hours in the cockpit in England when I went on my first mission.
This vintage fighter plane,
oh man,
at the Minnesota Air National Guard Museum.
He looks like he fits.
Is nearly identical to the P-51 Nick's grandpa flew.
Yeah.
P.
It's the same basic concept.
As in proud.
He got real good grades in college. He would have had a lucrative career in civilian life, and he chose to sign up for 10 years with the Air Force.
Oh, I'm very proud of my grandpa. I mean, he's the reason I'm here today.
Before returning to his Texas base, Nick planned.
Oh, yeah.
One more stop.
It's not every day you get to take your 92-year-old grandpa flying.
Off we go into the wild blue yonder.
Hi, Grandpa, ready to go?
65 years since Bob Jorgensen last sat in a cockpit.
And we're airborne.
Life has come full circle.
Are you having fun, Grandpa? Like old times.
A rented plane, a moment owned.
It's right where Nick should be on this path. It suits him. Yeah.
Romeo, request a full stop on this.
Nick has spent his entire life listening to his grandpa's aviation stories.
I'm so proud of you.
In his 92nd year,
it was fun.
Bob Jorgensen just landed a new one.
I wish it had been a jet. That would have been more fun.
Oh, sorry, Grandpa.
Point Hooper, Carol 11 News, Blaine.
Next time he'll be with the jet. How's that sound?
To the 75th annual Minnesota State High School League Boys Hockey Tournament.
For the past decade, Minnesota has hosted 2 boys high school hockey championships. The one at XL Energy Center. And the one playing out in a White Bear Lake living room.
Oh, here we go.
John King and wife Stacy.
Holy buckets.
Are screening with son Bennett.
Oh, that's nice.
Their tournament's main event.
Oh, yeah, look at that. Wow, that's a full afro.
The first step in the making of the Minnesota all-hockey hair team.
Perfect flow.
Video.
I think we're going to call him Flowbio.
Go ahead. Ask some kids.
On the way down here, watching the 2016 and 17 one. Yeah.
They'll tell you.
If you want to make the video, that's what it's kind of all about. All about the way they toss it back.
And that's Willie. Nice work. Love the red mouth guard.
I just found myself thinking, like, people would maybe be interested to see kind of like the red carpet at an award show. Who has the top hockey hair?
Perfect flow.
I think the first one settled in at maybe 200,000-300,000 views. One of them's got, I think, over 3 million, and one of them did over 2 million. Here's some serious flow right there.
Sure, games will be played.
Oh, look at how that falls down.
But that doesn't mean a player can't have other goals.
That guy, he's a legend.
Every one of those kids, when they skate up there that want to, try to make the video, they're excited for it to come out to see if they made it, for sure.
Making it brings a gift box of customized combs.
This is a work of art.
Hair products and caps.
Strong salad.
Glossary? Anyone?
You gotta have a nice salad.
Some dirty locks.
The chops. Yeah, the chops. Flow.
Whatever a kid calls it, if he does it up right, he'll have earned his place in hockey hair history.
Wouldn't be a hockey hair team without Hairman Town.
You are special. More specifically, your salad is special. Your flow, a firework capable of generating oohs and ahs across the state of Minnesota. This guy is trying a lot of stuff.
This one here?
Yeah, with just those long
14.
sideburns.
With the field narrowed, John starts assembling this year's video.
Next up from Cathedral, we see Michelangelo, truly a work of art.
Hardly a production studio, but not in his mother's basement.
That's good.
As some YouTube viewers suspect.
Sorry to disappoint you all.
In truth, John heads up the New York office of Fallon Ad Agency.
We call this look the inboard motor. It gives you that big wake and back, and you can wake surf without a rope. People will be like, yeah, it's funny. You talk so monotone and slow when you do the video. I'm like, yeah, that's just how I talk.
As for his own flow, John's making up for lost time.
I had short hair in high school, and I wasn't a hockey player, but I'm in the club now. I don't know that I could go back.
Lettuce right there.
An hour after the tourneys end,
We call this look the Titanic.
John uploaded video 10.
Iceberg!
This is
his last.
The grand finale.
Oh, really? So sad. He always has said when Bennett graduates, that's it.
Bennett, now a senior. Peyton, already in college.
I do not want to jump the shark. I would not want to be out there a little bit too long.
I could use slow-mo here, but why bother?
So think of the current crop as the all-hockey hair team video, graduating class.
It's like chef kiss, the last one.
The video's creator may have come late to the salad buffet. But rest assured, like the players he's honored, John King will be going with the flow.
Here's the thunder.
Boyd Hupert, Carol 11 News.
There's the lightning.
White Bear Lake.
Gorgeous.
The Mississippi River, Highway 169, and John Keston. Now you know how to answer, if ever asked, to name 3 things in Champlin that never stop running.
About 4 times a week.
4 times a week, 3 to 4 miles at a time. And John has yet to lay on you his biggest numbers.
So I'm 92 now, and I'll be 93 in December.
That stride, these legs, and those lungs belong to a man born in 1924.
Well, I feel pretty good considering.
Considering John is a veteran of World War II, and considering runner was far from his first role.
This was the musical Sweet Charity.
John spent most of his early working years in his native England as an actor.
There's me as Sherlock Holmes.
Remember, he's 92 as you listen
to
what John can also still do.
Just to know.
That voice brought the Brit to Minnesota in 1975 to teach classical singing at Bemidji State University, which, as fortune would have it, was launching a 10K, the first race at 55 years old John had ever run.
And I won my age group, so I was hooked.
Hooked.
Grandma's Marathon.
To the tune of 53 marathons.
Napa Valley Marathon.
Hooked.
World and American records.
As John went on to break a bunch of world records for runners his age from his late 60s into his 80s.
People say, you don't look 92. Well, I don't know what 92 is supposed to look like.
Yeah, and it's not there. He's got no wrinkles.
Unless Ann Keston counts her husband's wrinkles from his hours each week in the pool.
I do 120 laps, 4 or 5 times a week.
Remember, John was born before sliced bread, before penicillin and ballpoint pens.
Wow, that's impressive. That's really impressive.
My MDs expected me to get to be 100, so that's only 7.5 years to go.
I can't imagine that he ever will stop.
I think the reason I do it is because I don't want to expire too early in life.
John apologetically told us he hasn't competed in a race in more than 2 years. We beg to differ. For every day, John Keston is winning the race against time. Boyd Hupert, Carol 11 News, Champlin.
Hi.
Hi, Susan.
At an address often visited by heartbreak.
You guys doing okay? Good. Good to see you.
The day has come for mending.
It was one of his favorite plaid shirts.
Rita Johnson's husband Gary didn't need GQ magazine to tell him flannel was always in style.
Then I cut open the side.
Which is why this hurts.
Day after Christmas, he died of multiple myeloma.
She was the most wonderful mother.
And this is helping make it bearable.
It will be 6 years since we started this project.
Paul and Susan Hutchison know loss as well as anyone.
Yeah.
That hitch in Paul's voice is for his grandfather, Hartley Alden.
He's my best friend.
When Hartley passed away 6 years ago,
If I fold this over,
his wife and daughters collected his favorite shirts and from them made bears for his children and grandchildren.
There was a lot of tears and remembering the clothing.
And then the co-owners of Matson Funeral Home looked at their Hartley bear
Did you stuff your body yet?
and shared.
Between 800 and 900 bears have been made.
That's what my girlfriends used to tell me. Jess is like a big overstuffed teddy bear.
Jess was Rose Buskey's son.
He was my oldest.
This was his Vikings jean shirt.
Michelle Buskey's
He
husband.
went fast. He had a tough time.
And Lisa Buskey's dad.
Now you got the whole table crying.
Laughter and tears mixed in with the stuffing.
My dad was a little bit more round.
Just 3 months after cancer took Jess.
I'll be able to cuddle his jean shirt now with me.
Twice a year, the Hutchisons enlist volunteers, then invite in the grieving.
This blanket was actually a blanket she was wrapped in at the hospital.
Lisa and Chad Monson tried for 13 years to have a baby.
We got to see her a lot in ultrasound.
They loved that little peace sign their daughter made in the womb.
Like, hey guys, everything's okay in here.
But it wasn't okay.
They all have special meaning to us.
And the day after Lisa unwrapped this onesie at the baby shower, the Monsons learned their daughter Ava would be stillborn.
Now we're going to be able to create a bear to put in her room and remember her for the rest of her life.
Remembering with fabric and buttons.
he had blue eyes, so we went with blue for the eyes.
Chad's actually a very good sewer.
And Ava's parents making memories too with the daughter they dreamed of but couldn't keep.
Is it going to stay?
1, 2, 3.
It's just him.
I just hope it gives them peace, a little bit of comfort, brings a smile to their face on their hardest days.
It's just another step. And we just take it one day at a time and are thankful for the blessings that came to our life. Yeah.
What better to bring comfort on days that bring hurt
Very good.
than a bear hug?
I'll probably be hugging him every night.
The Land of 10,000 Stories takes us all the way to war-torn Iraq tonight for a creative lesson in giving back. You often hear stories about soldiers receiving special care packages from home. Well, tonight, a slightly different twist. Those in the field are the ones sending home the goodies, and it's all thanks to a Minnesota military mom and her daughter serving in Iraq. KARE 11's Boyd Hupert has our story.
I'm just doing a meander, it's called.
Like stitches joining two pieces of fabric,
This is the fun part.
quilting for Helen Uziak is all about connection.
And it's fun sharing patterns and talking about what you're doing.
Connections to her past and her grandmother who quilted.
I was hoping that one of my daughters would start quilting.
And a connection to her daughter Katie, 6,000 miles away.
What started was my daughter, after she got there, said, send us some fabric.
So Helen and her husband boxed up some fabric and a sewing machine.
This is what they've done. They cut the fabric and then they sew it together in different designs.
Helen's Army doctor daughter took that sewing machine and fabric and created an Iraq quilting bee.
And I thought, oh, this is great. We can do this together now.
Helen uses her quilting machine on the fabric pieces stitched and shipped to her.
Just another one that someone did.
By the little army of sewers her daughter assembled in Iraq.
I love it. It has a lot about God in it.
It wasn't easy for Major Katie Finley to answer the call that would take her from her husband and 3 children.
She met with her pastor's wife, and her pastor's wife said, God's going to give you a mission while you're there. You're going to have something that will help others.
Teaching sewing isn't a mission Katie envisioned, but how it has helped the medical staff pass the free time while making gifts to send to their families back home.
This is one of the surgeons that is learning to crochet, and he made this for his son. This has helped. This has helped them all, so I'm proud of her.
It took 2 weeks by mail, but Katie Finley was able to send us a message from her little video camera.
Thanks to the support from the home front, we're able to have a little piece of home here in Iraq.
A daughter and a mother connected.
I love helping them.
By
I love
quilting.
being able to help them get through this time apart from their families.
Helen and Katie have their little piece of the Army covered.
You feel good about finishing a quilt, and you feel good about yourself, too.
Boyd Hupert, KARE 11 News, Hudson.
Well, in times like these, we could all use some comedic relief. And there's a man in Wisconsin who's getting pretty good at delivering it. Boyd Hupert introduces us to a Midwest comedian making his mark at a time you could argue people need it the most.
Right now, you're hearing the USA chant as John Kerry speaks.
If not for the voice inside him.
I'm Zuri Hall. And I'm Charlie Behrens.
Charlie Behrens.
This was an unlawful assembly.
Might still be doing the news.
The one unifying aspect of the speech.
The voice inside him that had to come out.
Now, Mrs. Simon, come on. I'm not going to hear another word about it, okay? I'm doing your walk, so you just turn your tush around and go sit on the Davenport, okay?
The voice heard 15 million times in this Facebook video.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry.
Charlie's voice of the upper Midwest.
Todd, how we doing? Missed you at the St. Aloysius meat raffle on Friday.
We've had so much humor about the South. We've had so much humor about New York, about Boston, about the West Coast. I think that people comedically flew over the Midwest for a while.
Oh yeah, come on over.
But for whatever reason, I was lucky enough to have my videos take off.
Ah, jeepers, cripes on Friday.
If you haven't seen Charlie's videos, there's a good chance you're not on social media.
The Midwest voice translator works on simple phrases. Gee, did you eat?
This one's been viewed more than 16 million times.
Wearing my blaze orange up top, my camo down below.
I am wearing my church clothes.
Charlie's view of the Midwest, shaped in a family of 12 kids growing up in suburban Milwaukee, with summer vacations up north.
Everything that I put in the character's mouth, you know, is something I've heard.
I thought I was going to be like the next Brian Williams.
Charlie created a stand-up act based on the Texas TV news bosses who tried to rid him of his Scotty accent.
In Menasha today, police pulled over a man from Ashwaubenon for not stopping at the stop-and-go light.
Which morphed 4 years ago into this.
Hey there, folks. Welcome to the Manitowoc Minute.
Charlie's Manitowoc Minute news parodies started racking up shares.
Concert goer gets head stuck in tailpipe at Winstock, waits an hour for help. She must have been exhausted.
His catchphrases
keep her moving.
Began moving merchandise, sponsorships, and sold-out stand-up appearances. Soon, Wisconsin's cover boy was broadening his reach to the entire Midwest.
Hey, got some new jerky. You want to try some?
This video about a group of husbands who bond in the parking lot while their wives shop at Target has been viewed 64 million times, while a newly released album produced with friend Adam Greuel just topped the Billboard Bluegrass chart. Comedy with an edge, but always a Midwest sweetness.
Will there be some jokes about maybe sneaking a beer into church? Possibly, okay? But, you know, at the end of the day, God just wants everyone to be there together, okay?
Yeah, the fact is, you're still going to church.
Right, exactly.
At a time we can use a few laughs.
Finding love at the Quick Trip.
Charlie Behrens is giving voice to them. Boyd Hupert, KARE 11 News.
Well, our current cold snap got us thinking about a certain truck in west central Minnesota.
Yeah, we first took a ride in Bob Sportle's 57 Chevy pickup on a bitter winter day 4 years ago. Well, tonight, a look back and an update in a land of 10,000 stories best of.
Sunny and very cold today.
Days like this are reminders.
-9 this morning.
Minnesota prairie towns are no country.
See if I can get her going.
For old trucks. Which is why this throwback to Eisenhower should be as rare as a presidential motorcade in Princeburg.
It's a 1957 half-ton Chevrolet pickup.
That 1952 model behind the wheel.
Yep.
Is Bob Sportle, who was in his early 20s when he took a job at the Princeburg Farmers Co-op in need of a vehicle to drive to work. When who should turn in but a farmer with a rusty old truck he was looking to unload.
We kind of went back and forth on the price and ended up, I bought it for $75.
The kind of price you'd expect to pay for a truck to get you to next week. Not one you would still be driving to work 38 years later on the day you retire.
Well, I wasn't even born when he brought it home.
Kyle Sportle credits his dad's frugal streak.
That's right, yeah.
A little rust here.
For keeping the junkyard at bay.
We got holes here and holes in the box. That's to keep the fender on.
Bondo keeps the lights from falling off, and duct tape keeps the upholstery from coming apart.
Everybody knows Bob's around. Yeah, we all get out of the way.
I had one little old lady tell me one time that it was a disgrace that I drove this thing.
Mileage on the truck? 300,000 miles? Bob guesses. The odometer hasn't worked in 40 years.
My youngest daughter wanted to use it for the prom. They did it.
The soundtrack provided by Chevrolet.
No radio. Did not come with a radio. That's where it would be.
Well, I've said to him, we need to get rid of that truck. We should get a new pickup. And no.
It becomes a part of you. I don't know how to explain it.
No more daily drives to work for this new retiree.
0 degrees for the high.
But it'll be a colder day in Princeburg when Bob Sportle is pried from his pickup. Boyd Hooper, KARE 11 News.
It does the job.
Princeburg.
Well, we all know the sacrifices made by firefighters, especially those who volunteer.
Easier to miss are the sacrifices made by the spouses of firefighters, a point recently brought home in a dramatic way. Boyd Hooper explains in tonight's Land of 10,000 Stories.
Leave it to a guy under a mask to steal the heart of this young lass.
I'm a lucky girl, that's for sure.
Krista Bursa now wears the ring of St. Paul Park firefighter Jeremy Bursa.
He got down on one knee in the middle of the woods and popped the question.
11 years they dated.
Yep.
Yeah. While Krista got her nursing degree, had a couple of kids, and adhered to their couple's credo.
If something happens, just roll with it.
Something like the last-minute loss of their wedding venue.
I was definitely panicking, that's for sure.
So, roll with it.
Yeah, it was her idea.
Krista's idea.
What a cool spot, you know?
To move the wedding to the fire station.
She talked me into it.
I loved it.
December Orpin, their wedding photographer, fell in love with the creative possibilities.
This is a first.
Then found herself amused by the banter.
We kept joking, you know, what if there's a fire call? What are you going to do? You're not leaving our wedding, you know? No way.
She says jump, I say how high.
And that settled it.
Especially when it comes to that day.
Their firehouse wedding day was playing out perfectly.
My brother-in-law built a wall out of like old barnwood for us to have behind us. It was just so beautiful and so special.
And then, just after their wedding had reached its crescendo, this, not even 3 miles away.
Crash fully involved with 6 Black Smoke.
I looked at her and she just kind of did the, no, we're doing pictures.
So on they posed, knowing after all the fire wasn't even in St. Paul Park, but Cottage Grove.
I had everybody lined up out front. We were doing our big group photo.
Then it got worse.
St. Paul Park fire, request for mutual aid to Cottage Grove fire.
They do what's called a an all-call,
Newport Fire all-call.
which is they need more people now.
I just looked over at Jeremy and I could just see it in his eyes. He felt so torn. And I just said, go ahead and go, babe. Just go. They need you.
Go. Yep. It was a cool moment. It was a neat moment.
December kept shooting as the bridal party waved goodbye.
So you can see him in the truck in the back seat.
Just a handful of photos had been taken. The reception hadn't even begun.
Yeah.
And Jeremy was gone,
Yeah.
taking leave from one of the best days of his life to help someone else on their worst.
Being, the bride, that's your day. Words can't really describe it,
But there was more to Jeremy's bride's selfless act.
It was extremely tragic.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
2 years earlier, Krista's 9-year-old niece, Catherine, and 11-year-old nephew, Aaron, were staying with their aunt in Ohio when an overnight house fire killed them both. As the radio kept sounding,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
where Krista's mind went.
I've got the rest of my life with him. They needed him for that moment.
That just kind of put the ice on the cake for I know she's the one for the rest of my life.
Krista's grand march was on her father's arm. She led a prayer before dinner for the firefighters and the family losing its home.
Unconditional, unselfish love. Not only for each other, but for both of them, for their community. And for what's right.
3 hours later, the sun was setting when Jeremy finally made it back.
Yep.
December hastily snapped this photo.
You can just see the emotion in them. That's who they are.
Jeremy and Krista had rolled with it.
Yeah, it'll definitely be a day I won't forget.
Yeah.
And tempered their new bond by fire.
You just know that she is absolutely the one.
Boyd Hupert, KARE 11 News, St. Paul Park.
As you can tell, we're NASCAR fans.
You'll find no tributes to Standing Still.
We have our Dale Earnhardt Memorial Wall.
In Bill Waldschmidt's automotive shop.
That tire came off of Kenny Bernstein's dragster.
Bill will tell you his blood is brimming with gas and oil, just like his shop used to be.
Camaros, Trans Ams.
With every hot rod he could fix and restore.
That white one there is my 64 Chevelle. This is kind of my world out here.
But Bill's world has changed. To understand where Bill ended up, you first need to know where he started. A normal childhood until the age of 4, when Bill contracted polio.
I was in the hospital for several months. We were quarantined, and I remember looking out there and seeing Mom and Dad and Grandpa and Grandma looking through the window at me.
For the rest of his childhood, Bill walked with crutches till he'd recovered enough strength to walk up the aisle.
This was in 76.
On his wedding day.
Bill has such a wonderful attitude, and I just think that has taken him a long ways in his life.
Of that, Mary Waldschmidt saw no finer example.
Yes.
Than when Bill, in his 60s, developed post-polio and lost the use of his legs again.
The Chevelles here.
With Bill in a wheelchair.
Yeah, they're memories.
The hot rods were sent on their way, leaving the mechanic and Bill to find a new use for his service bay.
Yeah, wheelchairs.
Dozens of power wheelchairs Bill has repaired and refurbished. Now back on the streets, given to people like Don Johnson.
I've never had a gift like this. Never. Never.
Disabled.
It's how I get around.
Vietnam vet.
He's the kindest man on the planet that I've ever met. He does all this out of his heart. Just out of his kindness of his heart.
Still using the tools.
I don't think anybody likes to ride in something that's real dirty.
Still polishing the paint.
Is it as satisfying as fixing those cars up?
Way more. Way more satisfying.
He's touching so many people's lives, and I'm so proud of him.
This man who twice in his life lost the use of his legs has somehow concluded this.
Life has been really good to me, so I got to pass it on, you know. Do a little test drive on that chair.
No longer a shop filled with fast cars. But Bill Waldschmidt will never be content sitting still. Boyd Hupert, KARE 11 News, Randolph.
I think we got a good one.
I got 36 of these.
Every single time.
Gluing and sanding. That just goes on and on here.
Mark Cohn prays he gets this right.
I hadn't done this since 8th grade shop class.
A novice building tables and chairs would feel pressure enough. But Mark has taken his newfound woodworking passion a little deeper.
A simple pine box is what I call it.
This one is a work in progress.
Finished product here.
A finished product
Rope handles.
for finished people.
The lid comes off, and then down here is a comforter. I've actually taken a nap in there just to test it out.
And why not?
Someday I'll take a long nap in there.
He laughs. Now. But Mark Cohn made his decision to start building caskets in one of his darkest hours.
My dad died 5 years ago.
It bothered Mark that even a rental casket for his father's funeral cost his family $1,000. To buy one?
$3,000 or more.
This one?
$650.
Prayers come standard. In that department, Mark has experience.
1990, I was ordained priest of the Diocese of Duluth.
For 20 years, he was Father Mark Cohn.
It got to be lonely.
Till the isolation and stress that can come with being a Catholic priest proved too much.
Sometimes I wish the phone wouldn't ring, and sometimes I look at my desk full of papers and just want to go take a walk. I began to know this wasn't going to get any better.
Then Mark left one calling and found another.
Looks good. I didn't go away from being a man of faith or serving the Lord. I just decided I better take a little different way.
Different. Yet by a twist of real estate fate, similar.
Me in a church? It feels right.
The church that served as Hibbing's Grace Lutheran for nearly a century.
It's beautiful.
Just happened to be up for sale when Mark was looking for a home for his post-priest business.
Kind of fitting, isn't it?
Right back in a parsonage, living next door to his work.
Feels like I belong in a place like this.
8,500 square feet, discounted after 2 years on the market to $42,000.
Why nobody else made an offer on it? Why there's a beautiful church for me to live in? I think God might still be looking out for me.
Mark's prayer space above, his casket shop below.
This is a chance to do something of the Lord's work, a chance to interact again with families who are preparing for death or grieving.
No longer a priest, but Mark Cohn is still pining to serve.
There we go.
Boyd Hupert, KARE 11 News, Hibbing. Curiosity.
Coming up.
It's been the fuel for Sam Traxler's interest in the martial arts.
I did basic training in Fort Sill, Oklahoma. That's where I was originally introduced to it by my drill instructors.
Coming through. Curiosity about jiu-jitsu.
So we're here.
Its Japanese roots.
Even the best black belt is still learning.
And a curious item Sam's father had hanging on his wall. That's him.
This is it, guys.
Jeff Traxler, Sam's dad. And this is what he thought was a World War II Japanese sword.
So growing up, I always saw it on the wall. So I'm only 24, so he's had it most of my life.
Jeff Fowler, and his father is the one that brought it back.
Yep. That's Jeff Fowler. And this is his father, who brought the sword home to Minnesota as a souvenir of his service in Asia during World War II.
When you were growing up, where was it in the house?
In a basement, in a cellar, with canned goods and other things.
Just sitting there?
Just sitting there, yep. Laid there and nobody really cared about it.
And when Jeff's dad died?
And it almost ended up in a burn pit.
Seriously?
Yep, seriously.
Instead, Jeff gave the sword to his friend.
I traded some work with him.
Jeff Traxler.
He brought it out and showed it to me, and he says, "You can have it." I says, "Well, I got to do something for you." So I dug a septic system with a backhoe for him.
The septic system that put the sword on Jeff Traxler's wall, where his son, who'd learned jiu-jitsu in the Army, became curious about the sword's Japanese characters.
Really, we had no idea what we were getting into.
After which, Sam and his girlfriend Allie found this nifty translation page on Reddit.
Dropped it in here just to see if someone could translate it.
Someone like Yano Takashi, who saw on Reddit the characters from the sword and had news for Sam and Allie.
It's become bigger than we ever imagined.
The sword wasn't from World War II, but belonged to a samurai between 400 and 500 years ago.
You know, when you think about this metal in 500 years, it's hard to comprehend it.
Yet there was the proof for anyone who could read it, the family crest, the markings of a specific Japanese blacksmith, even a wooden tag with a family name and address.
Wow. I had no idea.
But how did Jeff Fowler's dad get it?
We don't know how he got it, yeah. And he's just never talked about it.
Here's that picture.
They have learned at war's end, tens of thousands of Japanese swords were confiscated and destroyed by American troops. Some found their way, tucked in soldiers' duffel bags, to America. But what to do with this one?
What a great opportunity.
Now that the Traxlers know what they have. Maybe have it appraised, then sell it.
That's not our way.
Makes no difference if that was worth $100,000 or whatever it's worth. It doesn't matter. It has to go back to where it came from.
But how?
There we go. Hi.
Hey, Yano.
Hello.
Yano, the man who responded to the Reddit post, has taken care of it all. The website, the fundraising, and the plane tickets to fly Sam and Allie to Japan later this month to deliver the sword to the descendants of its previous owner, who will donate it to a museum in the town from which it came. A big deal.
I guess Sam and Ali gonna be the TV star in Japan.
For 75 years, a Japanese treasure has been hiding in Minnesota, taken from an enemy.
This is the chestnut butt.
Going back
Amazing.
to new friends.
I'm so excited.
You come here, maybe someday if you come when it's cold, we'll take you driving on the lakes and go fishing through the ice.
Boyd Hooper.
Wow.
Carol Evan New.
All right, my friend.
Lee Center.
I'll put on here Donna.
Even the words family and familiar,
Cindy,
are cousins.
Heidi.
As connected as summer reunions and a dish to pass.
And here you go.
So it's worth noting the addition of name tags at this year's Nielsen family reunion. Just an acknowledgement of a family edition.
Feels good. I'm looking forward to it. It's so exciting.
Denise Janeski is about to meet more members of the family.
This is Linda.
With which she should have grown up.
If we weren't switched, then Linda wouldn't be there and I would.
Now, 4 months since an ancestry DNA test revealed the secret.
I didn't match anybody.
You didn't match your mother.
No.
Denise, born in 1945 at St. Paul's Bethesda Hospital, was somehow switched with another baby girl, born a half hour later, Linda Jordines.
Oh, dear.
The red-haired little girl in that family of blondes had for years been a topic of lighthearted family discussion.
You'd hear about, Linda was a milkman's daughter,
Same for the blonde, growing up with the red and brown-haired mother and siblings.
We always joked around as far as talking about the mailman and the milkman.
Hello.
Mailmen and milkmen,
Do a name tag. I don't know where I should.
you are officially off the hook.
How are you?
It is a whole new beginning in a way for them.
Your brother get a hug? I'm Al.
Nice to meet
How are you? Nice to meet you. God, it's been so long.
A sense of humor.
Oh, he's my little brother.
Doesn't hurt.
He's my little brother.
As they meet the families with which they should have been all along.
We're so happy to have you. Hi, Barbara. Hi.
Laughter. And not a hint
Yep.
of bitterness.
We haven't lost anyone, we've gained one. There's 8 of us now.
Denise lost the sisters she grew up with to cancer.
Say cheese.
Now she has 3 new ones.
I found a home.
Yeah.
Who would have thought, right?
And Linda, who lost her 42-year-old mother to cancer, now makes weekly care center visits to the 99-year-old mother to whom she was actually born.
I think at my age I didn't want more anger and conflict and...
It wasn't going to help.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just wasn't going to help.
So both chose to embrace their newly blended family.
We have to make up for 72 years, so we got to get together a lot.
Somebody said, "Oh, Denise could take a turn at Christmas."
If laughter can help heal even this mistake,
Just an extended family now.
is there any limit to the power of family?
Good people.
Boyd Hooper, KARE 11 News, Milltown, Wisconsin. We head to the golf course to get away from our desks.
Nice chip.
But in the woods, just beyond the first hole, it's all business.
This is my office.
R.J. Smith is in collections.
He'll come in and get a cart. I'm just heading to my office quick. Hold my messages.
Mike Manahan is the pro at Rochester's Northern Hills Golf Course.
Just like a goat.
R.J. is the pro for balls hit off course.
Now I got one right here.
Midsummer, it's 95, 100. He's out there comes back just dripping sweat. He's got burrs in his hair.
What could possibly so motivate a man at 90 years old?
It's all golf balls.
Just 80 years of gathering.
Oh, here's something you'd like to see.
One of the world's largest collections.
The NFL.
Of unique golf balls.
Now, these are all Super Bowl balls. I've got every automobile manufacturer.
460 crates stacked floor to ceiling.
Volkswagen, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz.
70,000 golf balls.
Honda.
Not two alike.
My wife always knew where I was at. I wasn't sitting in a bar someplace drinking. I hunt this all the way down to the green, you know what I mean? So I got all of that to hunt.
RJ started caddying at 11 years old.
Here's a ball right here.
Started collecting soon after.
Here's one. That's a brand new this year staff. And this one I don't have neither.
Every find is someone's loss.
It's a $5 golf ball.
I'm sure he has quite a few maybe over there.
But don't expect sympathy.
You're supposed to play on the fairway.
RJ didn't erect a tower of Titleist by going in halfway.
This is a 1950 golf ball.
Not once in his life has he paid for a golf ball.
This is a ball out of the 20s.
Paying would be cheating.
This ball here is an Eagle Reach, 1917, this ball.
Just one extended break for RJ's military service, though in recent years the searching
Here's a ball.
has also paused for breaks.
Yeah.
On the third hole.
You always hope you go first, but it don't always work that way. She died first.
16 years now without his partner.
Yeah.
Dee golfed and RJ searched nearby for balls. What would she say if she saw him today?
I know where you're at. I know where you're at.
Now, 3 months since his own cancer diagnosis.
Yeah.
The man who never bought a ball is ready to sell his.
I'm crossing the fairway for the last time. Yeah.
Time for payback. Every penny earned off his 80-year collection, RJ plans to donate to charity.
God has given me everything I've ever wanted in life, and I never had to ask.
Everything he wanted, provided.
There's two of them right here.
Now, R.J. Smith will be able to say he gave at the office, too.
Here's another one.
Boyd Hooper, KARE 11 News, Rochester.
We had a drugstore across the street and a nice gift shop.
Small rural towns die, one storefront at a time.
We used to have a jewelry store in town. We had a bakery.
Truman is a main street lined with ghosts.
That their building there, that's the old bank.
The movie theater, the hardware store.
Furniture store.
Furniture store was down the street.
Truman grieves for empty shells.
Ford Garage was down here too.
a town once blessed with 3 grocery stores.
This has been closed now for 15 years.
But the last one locked its doors over the summer.
The hardest. Yeah, absolutely.
When picking up a few items for dinner suddenly meant a 24-mile round trip to Fairmont, Truman needed a Superman.
Oh, it's a miracle. It's just a miracle.
What it got
Main Street Market.
was an even better boy.
More or less woke up one night and decided that I was going to give this a whirl.
Nick Graham, age 17, is the owner of Truman's newly reopened Main Street Market.
It's just amazing, really.
Amazing that it took Nick this long.
When I was probably 15, 16, I almost bought that hardware store in Armstrong.
15, 16?
Yeah, a year prior to that, I attempted to purchase a restaurant.
He's always been very ambitious.
The way his grandmother tells it, Nick just grew up more quickly
Thank you.
than other kids.
Well, when you lose a parent, it's at that young of an age, it's very hard.
Nick was 4 when his father died in a snowmobiling accident.
And he and his dad were very close.
Soon he was squirreling away the quarters his grandma gave him for candy, and later banking the money he earned on his grandparents' farm.
How much do I owe you?
Saving.
$20.71.
For something. Saving, it turns out.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
His town.
Dan!
What do you know, dude?
For sure, not much.
Isn't that something? I tell you, the kid deserves a medal.
A kid who dashes between grocery store deliveries to the Truman High School to finish his senior year.
So those would equal positive 2.
A kid who negotiated a store purchase while playing tackle for the football team.
For 89 cents.
Okay.
Then convinced a teammate's mom to quit her job
$12.33. He said, I found a job for you.
to become his manager.
It's Nick. You never know what he's up to.
He shingled my daughter's house this last summer.
A kid who won't hesitate to tear apart this freezer, too. Because that stubborn glance masks a kid who doesn't know the word can't.
No.
The other day we were in the restaurant and things were getting busy and he just took over and helped serve food and cleared the tables and
And the busiest kid in Truman
It's all fresh.
isn't through yet.
Hang on a minute, Marlis.
The doors weren't even open on the grocery store when Nick started making calls to universities.
I've been trying to find a pharmacist for, probably 6 months now.
His next goal, putting a drugstore back in the empty space across the street.
Are you going to start the drugstore?
No, but I'm looking for somebody to start it.
That reaction
I just couldn't believe my eyes.
speaks to a long, struggling town with
Why is
shelves
it every
newly
time I come
stocked
in your ear
with
and you-
hope.
It's like a miracle. You know, the people just couldn't believe it. They can't believe it.
Find everything, Dana? Yes, I did, Nick.
For years, Truman has watched its most promising young people depart for bigger cities.
When do you ever sleep? Do you sleep?
Oh, a couple days a week.
But here stands the most ambitious of them all, pouring his whole heart into staying put.
He didn't think of himself. He's thinking of the community. This is what makes him so unusual.
Of all the opportunities in the land of 10,000 stories, Nick Graham has found his in a grocery store at home.
Denise!
Nick, how you doing?
Good, how about you?
Nourishing his neighbors
Hi.
and nurturing his town.
Thanks, Alice.
Yep, see ya.
See ya.
When he first bought his hunting land amid the bluffs and cornfields of Pierce County, Wisconsin,
This is the Rush River here.
Roger Nelson was attracted to the scenery.
Kind of back to Mother Nature.
Then it was just a matter of time until nature joined forces with Roger.
It's amazing. It's worth the drive, definitely.
Barb and Steve Milburn drove from Rochester to see this for themselves. The creations about which everyone who stops
Beautiful.
can't stop talking.
I think maybe nature had a little help here.
A little help from a man who knows water.
Well, I'm a plumber, so it was kind of natural.
A plumber whose hunting land just happened to be loaded with this. 1,000 gallons a minute surging from 650 feet below.
No pump.
No pump.
Nope.
just water gushing to the surface naturally from an artesian well deep beneath Roger's property. And you got to thinking.
Yep.
One small ice sculpture formed accidentally when Roger left open a pipe has inspired more than 30 others, all connected by the plumber to his artesian well.
You do have to admire the artwork.
Quietly feeding still growing behemoths 24/7.
25 pounds pressure all the time.
Only one thing better.
When it's dark, all the lights come on.
The lights that turn sculptures into ice spirits.
And then that one looks like a unicorn.
J.C. Bauer came to see them with her family.
It's pretty awesome.
That one looks like a ballerina.
Imagination stretchers.
That's her long hair.
All of which got their start as one of 33 standing pipes, flagpoles basically, into which Roger drills holes.
This one right there, that's right there.
Roger drills the holes, and nature decides on the shapes.
You never have a clue.
Roger downplays the work this took, laying more than 1/3 of a mile of underground pipe to feed nature's creative appetite. Does any of this surprise you?
Not one bit. No, not one bit.
As his friends know, Roger's passion runs hot.
I'm surprised there's not more of them. It's all or nothing.
Yep, and he shares it with everybody.
Yeah.
Shares it with every braking driver, every camera-toting visitor.
Amazing.
And this crew.
So who made all these?
Our grandpa. Our grandpa.
Cruz, Knox, Rowan, and Reagan.
Sounds like it's raining and I like the sound of that.
Whose grandpa tapped in to something special.
It feels like it's a fairy tale.
It does.
As long as the earth keeps sending up the water, Roger will honor the gift.
It's a partnership.
Yeah.
Well done,
Good end product.
plumber. Well done. Boyd Hooper, Carol 11 News, Maiden Rock, Wisconsin. The varsity girls basketball team at New London Spicer High School has an abundance of riches.
I'm Mackenzie Rich and I'm a senior.
Mackenzie was the first to make the team.
Courtney Rich and I'm in 11th grade.
Then the riches
Avery Rich, sophomore.
kept coming.
My name is Dakota Rich and I'm in 8th grade.
4 Rich sisters on an undefeated Class 2A varsity team ranked #1 in the state.
Let's go!
Which made for a proud dad moment earlier this season.
Yes.
When Earl Rich was in the stands the first time all 4 of his daughters were on the floor in a game, the same time.
It was a special moment, that's for sure.
Special for more than one reason.
Move it! Move it!
Mike Dreyer
There you go.
is the girls' coach. In his 43rd season with New London Spicer, the winningest girls basketball coach in Minnesota high school history.
Good shot, Emma.
Still coaching, he says, largely
Good job.
because of Earl.
Good job, Ken.
I suppose it was like 6 or 8 years ago. You got to keep coaching. You got to coach my kids. I just said, I don't think I'll be hanging on that long, Earl.
Earl persisted for his girls.
I told him if there's any coach I ever want you to play for, it'd be him.
A position rooted in 45 years of Earl Rich's personal history.
Well, I would say second grade would be when I remember being in the homes.
Foster homes, to be more precise, after Earl's mom became too ill to care for him.
What about your dad?
My dad, he moved away and was in Spokane, Washington. Totally out of the picture. I never had a dad. The foster parents were my family.
You were in 6 different homes.
6 different foster homes through high school.
When the 5th foster family decided to give Earl up, word spread to his 7th grade football coach, who might look familiar.
I was in the lunchroom one day and the music teacher was saying, Earl's going to have to move to Wilmer. I listened to him and I said, well, he could come with me.
I'm like, Mike Dreyer?
Earl moved into the home of then unmarried Mike Dreyer, who legally became his foster parent.
Yep, I was that.
Earl and Mike together through sophomore, junior, and senior years.
I never spent 3 years at one place. He just gave me every aspect of a dad that I never had.
A dad to come to his games, ready with advice and love.
Oh man, it's hard to talk about sometimes.
I'd say he definitely turned out all right for having such a tough life when he was younger, and I think Dreyer definitely played a big part in that.
Earl went on to quarterback and pitch for Southwest State University. became part owner of New London Real Estate and a campground where his daughters spend their summers practicing basketball.
There's some pride.
Yeah, it is.
Get open!
And now Coach Dreyer sits on one side of the court with Earl on the other.
They're all four out there right now.
And his 4 daughters on the floor between them.
I was lucky. I was fortunate, and I'm glad he stuck it out for the girls.
Good job, Coach. Good job.
Courtney, Mackenzie, Avery, and Dakota. Riches beyond anyone's imagination.
Good job, honey.
Boyd Hooper, Carol 11 News.
Good job.
New London.
Good job, Kens.
This is a good day for Katie Dow.
Yeah, I'm really early today.
Alone.
Completely worth it.
But not for long. That's Oliver Hancock, his mom.
But I'm like, we won, Oliver.
Heather.
We got it.
And soon,
Around the block usually.
a sidewalk full of people down Excelsior Boulevard.
Every time.
Then,
It is a hot ticket.
around the corner.
I'd stand in line for an hour for it.
So, how did this happen?
My mom getting me an ice cream machine for my birthday, honestly.
Zach Braw was like a lot of us at the start of the pandemic, working his sales job from home, and in Zach's case, experimenting with his new ice cream machine.
This was a year ago.
On a whim, Zach posted on Instagram one of his first creations, a Lucky Charms ice cream. Then others, initially brushing it off when people wanted to buy his Funfetti ice cream blondie sprinkles, but not for long.
I would post it on my page, say, hey, I have 10 pints available. I'd have 100 people messaging me. That's when I kind of figured out, wow, I need to start doing this full scale in a full commercial kitchen.
Which is why Zach is now making his A to Z Creamery ice cream in a full commercial kitchen. Why he's still experimenting with concoctions like garlic cream cheese swirl.
I think the corn dog was one of the first ones I got. I thought it was good.
And why those 10 pints a week are now 300.
Unique enough that I'm like, I'll try anything.
With demand often 10 times that.
It's almost like a skill if you get it.
Everything from scratch.
These are 7-layer bars.
One flavor a week, never repeated. This Instagram video will tease the weekly flavor. And this picture will be posted when the flavor goes on sale.
That one's the best.
Now, watch this.
It's going live.
Some 300 pints at $12 each, sold out in 1 minute.
Isn't that insane? I still get butterflies in my stomach.
Stick will throw. Which in Zach's case is saying something.
Touchdown, North Dakota State, Zach Braw.
Zach Braw.
He picked it off the back of the defender.
Legendary NDSU receiver.
This is the first one, so 2011.
And holder of 5 national championship rings.
I'm the one right in the middle there holding the trophy. If I can be a part of a team that wins 5 national championships, I think I can make a successful ice cream business.
All right, I'll try anything I can get my hands on.
It's doubtful anyone in line even knows, busy as they've been, trying to receive.
All right, I owe you one.
Zach's ice cream.
Thank you.
Yep.
Stoked, ready to try it. He makes literally the best ice cream I've ever had.
I'm happy. 2 pints of 7 minutes in heaven. Can't get better than that.
Every time I open the door and I see the line wrapping around the corner, there you go.
Thank you.
Yep, it's a feeling that never gets old. There you go.
Super excited about this one.
Awesome.
I got 2 orders.
The
for the
former
office
college football star who's lined up a cool second half.
There you go. Yep, enjoy.
Boyd Hooper.
Hi.
Carol 11 News, St. Louis Park.
Well, there's a growing memorial for Longville, Minnesota's legendary dog, known for his daily walks to visit friends in town. Sadly, Bruno died yesterday after being hit by a car. He won't be forgotten, though. Many people were touched by his story. Just look at all these Facebook messages. Boyd Hooper first introduced us to Bruno 2 years ago, so it was only fitting that he went back to the town to share Bruno's final story.
Say Bruno.
For years, Bruno traveled to Longville. Today, Longville traveled to Bruno.
Say bye-bye, Bruno.
Tokens of affection at the statue honoring a dog who went the distance. For 14 years, Bruno made the 4-mile trek down Highway 84 from his rural home to his friends in town.
He waits.
Stopping for deli treats and greeting friends.
You are something, Bruno.
Lots of friends.
Okay, there's your water, baby boy.
Sunday morning, Bruno was on his way to town when he was hit and killed by a car. The driver was on her way to church.
She's devastated. She couldn't even make it through church.
We went and visited her and told her
No, it wasn't her fault.
Deb and Larry Lavallee and son Levi have been touched by the outpouring on social media. Mostly kind, but some critical that Bruno, a stray pup when the Lavallees found him, wasn't chained up.
That would have been cruel.
Yeah. He wouldn't have turned out to be Bruno that we all love, for sure.
How you doing, big boy?
He was just that free and loose spirit, you know, and that's what he loved to do, and everybody loved that he did it.
Town Grand Marshal,
hey, bud,
lover of ice cream and donuts.
I said, well, Bruno should have his last donut.
Larry thought this was the spot he should rest in.
No longer a wanderer, but a dog at rest.
You know, you can't help but you'd be happy for the life he lived. Holy cow.
For the first half of its life, the Split Rock Lighthouse was a giver of illumination. But to this day, Minnesota has also never had a more distinguished light receiver.
Nope, and it never looks the same 2 days in a row. It's always a different view and different lighting.
36 years.
Yep.
That's how long Lee Radzik has not been getting tired of this view. Not been bored climbing this spiral staircase.
32 steps to the top.
Not been anything less than inspired by the history of the North Shore's treasure.
There's 160,000 people a year climb those stairs and come up in here and look at this and walk the grounds. Popular place.
Lee's place.
I was 30 years old.
30 years old when the archaeologist with the Minnesota Historical Society left the Twin Cities to become the 40th keeper of the Split Rock Lighthouse.
My wife and I had been married for 3 months, and my mother always said it's either going to make or break your marriage, and we've lasted for 36 years, so we're doing pretty well.
36 years and 2 kids who grew up with everyone else's vacation destination in their backyard.
We had a head lighthouse keeper, first assistant keeper, second assistant keeper, homes for each of them and their families.
In Lee's era, only the steps of one of the homes remained shoveled.
Just my wife and I and the cat right now.
In the desolate time of year, when the tours stop, the ghosts of Split Rock still emerge.
Pete Young was the first head keeper that served at Split Rock 1910 to 1928.
Lee won't name each of the 40 keepers.
There's Frank Koval right there.
But it seems like he could.
There we've got old Walt Johnson. He's doing that exterior painting on the foghorns.
Maintenance filled the days of the earliest keepers.
1911.
That and going out for dinner.
Shot deer in the forest just to get the mail. It was a 5-mile boat ride.
The children of the keepers grew up in the ultimate playground, just like Lee's kids.
The old and the new.
A past to present connection.
Got the skeleton keys here.
In which the keys of the first keeper now share the ring with a Toyota fob.
This place has been here 108 years. I've been here 36 years, so that's literally a third of the history of Split Rock that I've been here.
But even the longest serving keeper,
still standing,
knows it's time to become part of Split Rock history.
April 12th is the last day of work. I always wanted to retire in the spring so I would have a summer off.
A summer to explore other landmarks, then move south to a warmer climate, Duluth.
We don't want to get too far from the big lake. It's kind of in our blood.
Leaving this place is easier, knowing the door will still swing open.
We can come back anytime.
For Lee, Split Rock will leave a light on. Boyd Hupert, KARE 11 News, 2 Harbors. The tidy little neighborhood on the eastern edge of Rosemount has a curious
Lulu, come.
new resident.
Not even a week with us.
Not even a week
Lulu.
since Lulu joined the Gebayu family.
Just like babies again, you know.
Round here, 4-legged babies are booming.
His name's Bandit. We got him
April 20th.
Yeah, April 20th.
Count Bandit at the Eklund house.
This is Stanley.
Stanley
He's almost 12 weeks old.
at the Burrs.
This is Ace.
He was born on July 14th.
And Ace at the Murphys.
There
There's one down there.
And you're just
There's a new one over there.
getting started.
His name is Coco, and he's 3 months old.
It just seemed like every other week we were seeing a new puppy walking down the street.
Natalie Elbers came up with a name for it.
This is the pup side to the pandemic.
On 3 city blocks,
Hi, Charlie.
over 7 months,
This is Jaeger.
17 families have welcomed new puppies,
He's 2 months old and 3 weeks. His name is Sonny.
including 5 arrivals in the cul-de-sac that's become Hound Zero.
Just a big puppy play pile. All came in during the quarantine period.
Puppy time. I mean, it's just been really a tough year for a lot of people, but this is one thing that has just been a bright spot.
Natalie has yet to pull the trigger, despite oversized hints from her kids on the grocery list and constant exposure to this sort of thing. That's Stanley watching his puppy pal a house away.
He's looking for Ace.
Trust us, this is about to get good.
It's like they need to get that energy out. They need to have their guy time.
Aussie Doodle meets Golden Retriever
One's going to be significantly bigger than the other, so we'll see what happens.
in a neighborhood busting
We got him right away when COVID started.
with pandemic
This is Socks.
puppies.
This is Buxton. We got him March 25th, right after COVID, yes.
So to recap,
We're gonna do small dogs over here all the way to the big dogs.
that's Lulu, Coco, Charlotte, Stanley, Bandit, Jaeger, Teddy, Sonny, Ace, Buxton, Bailey, Nacho, Ranger, Socks, and Dakota.
He won't bite.
Macy and Bear sent regrets, leaving the neighborhood one shy of 2 baseball teams worth of puppies. But game on.
This is Maisie May.
18.
They're still coming.
Maisie, welcome to the scrum. Boyd Hupert, Carol 11 News, Rosemount.
Well, since Boyd finished the story, Maisie has arrived with her family, the Fish Box, bringing the total to 18 puppies in one 3-block neighborhood.
Oh, man. It's peaceful, and pray for the kids and the teachers and stuff.
A janitor sees the world differently, even in his morning prayers.
When I go by the little boys' room, I always pray that they have good aim.
Myron Peterson took a part-time job last fall at Christian Heritage Academy.
Danny?
Then,
what'd you get?
Strange things started appearing.
When they first started showing up, we didn't know where they came from.
Random drawings popping up overnight in Mrs. Bolt's pre-K room,
Number 1.
Mr. Woodbury's science room,
Equals.
and Miss Carlson's 3rd grade classroom.
The little bear was sitting there for about a day or two, and all of a sudden the reindeer joined him. So the kids were excited. They saw it right away.
Little did they know, the man who mopped their floors had a hand in something more.
The first week, they had no idea. And then finally we told them it was Myron.
But Gail Wolfe, the Academy's principal,
Yep.
was among few who knew the rest of Myron's story.
Yeah. Just never know how your life can change just like that.
It's been 2 years since Myron crept up the stretch of I-35 in a snowstorm, driving between buildings in his previous job as a facilities manager, when another driver, going too fast, slammed into him.
I don't really remember very much, so 2017.
What were you diagnosed with?
I have a TBI, a traumatic brain injury.
The part-time janitor job at Christian Heritage Academy is Myron's first attempt to work since his brain injury. An injury that's left Myron once no more than a stick-figure doodler with an unexplainable new talent.
Most of this is pencil.
And also left Myron with frequent and at times unbearable migraines.
Sorry, guys.
It's debilitating.
Yeah.
Myron's occupational therapist suggested drawing, and the whiteboards at his new job provided the perfect canvas.
Yeah, it's therapy, that's for sure.
Therapy.
My happy place.
Like the day Myron noticed the assignments
An alien.
from Mrs. Gladanovsky's English students hanging on clothespins in the hall. onto which Myron
I really liked it.
hung another.
He completed his own assignment. He did awesome. He got an A.
Daily, their music wafts across the school, bringing comfort to Myron as he goes about his work. They give him a gift.
Yes. Sharing.
And Myron likes to think he's doing the same for them.
They come in and they get all excited. Oh, look who's on our board today.
I love them all. I like them all too. I like them all too.
Christian Heritage Academy had advertised for a janitor.
You got more, didn't you?
Yeah, I got a beautiful man. A beautiful soul.
School and janitor.
This is kind of a selfie.
Leaving their marks on each other.
It's a blessing to be here.
Boyd Hubert, KARE 11 News, Lakeville. Beauty resides on boulevards, but truth lives in alleys.
Well, you got your mattress on the left, you got your stepladder up here on the right, waiting for the next purpose, right?
Truth and mystery.
Here's the cool mystery car.
And life at a slower pace.
Maybe the butterflies are a little less, disturbed.
The perfect place to begin Lucy Elliott's story.
I am an alley walker.
Because it takes the peculiarities of an alley walker.
I see her go up and down the alley.
To follow a path here.
Come on in. Hi. Welcome. Glad you're here.
Think Sesame. Wow. If it weren't a street, but an alley.
They can jump up and down.
It's kind of a wild little place. It is Belle's Toolbox.
Belle's Toolbox is what happens when a career educator
He snapped at the mosquito.
retires.
He snapped at the flea.
But isn't done.
But he didn't catch me. I love that one.
For years, Lucy would say, I want to do this thing. And I would say, show me a business plan. We already don't have any money.
Mark is Lucy's husband.
That means go away, don't bother me.
He put her off. She
It's a crazy idea.
persisted.
It's really cool.
And opened last year the Twin Cities' most playful, eclectic, drop-in learning garage.
It was an automotive service center.
That's Keller's Auto Service before Lucy and Mark moved from Chicago to be closer to their grandkids.
Yeah.
And bought it.
I don't know. It just seemed to make sense to me.
Now the old air hose is trapeze to a stuffed bird.
Whoa, look at that parrot go.
While kids in the Longfellow neighborhood
My hat's done.
have a gas.
That is really fun. I love it. I'm just kind of setting the stage and hoping that people will kind of get it.
Get the absence of Legos.
What do you think that could do?
Lucy prefers a box filled with nothing made to fit.
So the child has to figure it out. Good.
Get her no cell phone policy.
It's stealing time.
Small screens, she believes, rob parents and children
These are super cool.
of small moments. Get
So you hold that.
Lucy's obsession with reuse and repurposing.
Can you pull it down?
But how is anyone supposed to get two retirees who downsized their home to free up money for a business with no hope of making a profit?
Some people in our position would maybe buy a second house on a golf course.
We could buy a cabin.
You did this instead.
Did it instead. Yeah.
This is the one thing she wanted to do with her life. I just wanted her to have that. That's all.
Play with this one.
Alice landed in Wonderland after falling down a rabbit hole.
Bye.
Lucy Elliott comes and goes
Bye, Penny.
by way
That was great fun.
of an alley. Boyd Hooper, KARE 11 News, Minneapolis.
Yeah, it runs like a top.
From Tin Lizzy to the General Lee.
We're going to get the box set on today.
Sometimes a vehicle
Okay, let's set her down.
can adopt a personality.
Well, it has some stories it could tell, I'm sure.
But this ermine white 62 Chevy 3/4 ton fleet-side pickup
They think he's crazy.
isn't close to being the most interesting character
There's no denying that.
to roll into the lives of the Lundeen family of Grantsburg, Wisconsin.
You're not going to meet another person like him.
He was here for the entire school year.
Klaus Kono was a foreign exchange student from Norway who unpacked his bags in Grantsburg in 1990, but couldn't stop traveling.
He loves to drive.
No matter the vehicle,
The lawn was never so short.
Klaus was behind the wheel.
He wouldn't even turn the blades on. Sometimes he'd just go out and ride around, do laps.
Drive back around.
But as much as he loved the mower, everything changed the day Klaus discovered the truck.
It wasn't a Corvette or a sports car or anything like that. It was an old farm truck.
An old farm truck covered in dust and loaded with junk when Klaus first saw it parked in a shed at the place next door.
But for some reason, he just fell in love with it.
No sense could be made of it, then or now, but Klaus was as determined to buy the old truck as its Swedish-American owner, Gustav Peterson, was determined to keep it.
And Klaus was constantly needling him to get that truck. Why he wouldn't sell it? I don't know. He never did. Never did.
Klaus went back to Norway. The years passed, but he never stopped thinking about that truck, right up to the day Gustav Peterson went into a nursing home.
Here she is.
And Craig Lundeen placed the winning $500 bid at the auction.
No, it's no pretty girl until now.
After 2.5 years of restoration, Craig is nearly ready to declare the job complete.
Yeah, I think that'll work.
But this story isn't close to being finished.
It just started, and it just keeps going. It's not over yet, because he doesn't have a home.
So let's look and see if his flight's up here.
Not yet.
When Craig and Nancy signed up for an exchange student, they committed for just 1 year.
Good to see you again. Good to see you too.
But they'd no more let go of Klaus than Klaus
She gets us to stop.
was letting go of his dream.
Yeah.
I want to see the truck. This is what I've been waiting for since I was 16, actually, so it's about time. Oh, yeah. Oh, this is beautiful. This is beautiful.
Klaus wired the money for the parts and material.
Excellent. Excellent.
You like?
I really do.
Good. That's good.
Thanks.
Craig provided most of the labor
Excellent.
and the love.
Starting.
18 years ago, for reasons difficult to understand, a boy from Norway fell in love with an American.
I think he's happy. I'm glad.
I'm gonna rule the streets of Oslo. This is excellent.
Not a bad way to end this story. This night in this Grantsburg garage.
I rule so much.
But how could we not come back in the morning?
You gotta love this.
After a week in Grantsburg, Klaus and his truck will hit the road for New York and onto a ship bound for Norway.
Oh, this feels nice. Oh, wow.
In the land of 10,000 stories,
It takes a little while to heat up.
this one belongs to an old farm truck with an ocean in front of it and 160-horse personality behind the wheel.
Excellent.
In Ely, Minnesota, rivers race, while canoes are known for a more peaceful pace.
There's not much I don't like about canoeing.
That's Dan Dramel in the stern and girlfriend Abby Dare up front.
It's empowering.
Both native Twin Cities who've embraced Ely's canoe culture. Ely wears canoes as proudly as prom queens wear tiaras. Which brings us to Ely's Nirvana, the day each fall when the nature of canoeing in Ely
Morning, how you doing?
gets flipped on its head.
We're glad you're here for the 4th annual Ely Full Marathon.
The world's only marathon with a canoe portaging division.
It's a little nuts.
I want to do it just to find out if I can, just to see if it's possible.
Dan Dramel is now just a mile or two into a race in which he will shoulder a 35-pound canoe more than 26 miles.
We think it's crazy.
The craziness started 2 years ago.
Yeah.
When Dan and Abby asked the race director if they could run the marathon taking turns portaging their canoe for fun.
We were like, well, why not?
Inspired herself the same year, Linan Vesper crashed the half marathon on her own.
It was really a personal challenge at the time.
Tradition born.
I do a lot of canoe camping up here, and this is just the ultimate portage.
Brian Bittner is among a dozen runners.
I still wasn't feeling pretty good.
Now competing officially in either the full or half marathon canoe portaging divisions.
My first half marathon, not my first time portaging a canoe.
Dana Gilbertson is running too.
This is go Dana.
Navigating one of America's most scenic marathon courses.
And I can't see it. I haven't seen a bit of it. This is the front of a canoe.
Way to go. Keep it up. You got this. Nice job.
Dan Dramel, meantime, is nearing the halfway point of the full marathon.
He definitely wants to win. That's a huge driving force for him.
I think it's just about learning what I can do and pushing my own limits and finding out what the next thing is.
Number 689, Dana Gilbertson.
Dana Gilbertson and her throbbing back approach the end of the half marathon. The top female finisher.
That's exactly what I expected. Absolutely miserable type 2 fun.
Truest Minnesotan thing you could think of is to carry a canoe for a whole marathon.
Then, fighting the wind and more than 5 hours of a canoe paddling him.
Definitely in pain. Good work, Dan.
Number 142.
Dan Dramel
with a canoe on his back
powers himself to first place.
Dan Dremel
in the canoe portaging full marathon.
Man can do anything. He'd probably do it again.
No, I'm done. I'm ready to be done till next year.
A town where canoes are king now has its crowning achievement.
Oh, this is so easy.
Yeah, it's really easy.
Boyd Hupert, KARE 11 News. Ely.
At 2,000 out of the bar, 11, I'll take it out 12. Let's go. 12, 13, 14.
Built over generations.
Let's Kalmar, 2,000 out of the bar to go to where?
Dismantled in minutes.
At 1,400 bar.
The end has come for a small family dairy farm.
So,
I've covered this story before, but this time it's personal. This time, it's the family farm on which I grew up. The century-old barn in which my grandfather milked cows. And after that, my milk-promoting father with his painted-up pickup. And that guy, always in a hurry, in the same barn. That's my younger brother.
Yeah.
Jay.
That's my third day down here helping Jay.
A week before the auction, I stopped by.
I'll tell you what, it caught me by surprise.
And found Dennis Kuzlik, Jay's neighbor, helping ready a tractor for the sale.
I thought Jay'd be farming for 10 more years. He was so good at it, and he always seemed to love it.
Jay did.
Don't watch the brand new one.
Lisa, too, Jay's wife, who's about to get a barn kiss. Both grew up on dairy farms. That's them, on the cover of Farm Journal magazine, high school sweethearts, who went on to have the highest producing dairy herd in Pierce County 7 years in a row, never expecting in their early 50s to be standing here.
Yeah.
And saying this.
I don't want to stay anymore.
It's been roughly 3 years since milk prices tanked.
This is the last pickup, yeah.
Accelerating a trend that scattered the countryside with empty barns.
I've got a neighbor down the road 3 miles this way that sold his cows last Friday. A guy down the road a couple miles that way is selling his cows next week. The prices are poor. It's just break even. Why keep milking them?
Combined, Wisconsin and Minnesota are losing dairy farms at the rate of 15 a week. Most of them small dairies, like Jay and Lisa's 60-cow herd.
Hi, Lucy. Yeah, you're a good girl.
Replaced by dairies with thousands of cows, milked increasingly by robots.
Did you already wash Edith?
Yeah, I did.
Jay and Lisa can't match a 5,000-cow herd in scale and efficiency.
That's Roxy. She's the barn cat.
And robots can't form relationships
This is Sasha.
like this.
There you go. You go get that cow some hay that's not eating.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Outside, Jay's tractors are lined up for the sale. The newest among them is 27 years old. New tractors have tripled in price, while milk prices have slid back 3 decades. So on Jay soldiered with the old.
He has always said to me since the day we were married that he would never ever let us go so far in the hole or get so far behind that we couldn't get out. That's where we're at, you know. We don't want to do that. Are you going to be going bye-bye?
Hard to encourage a 4th generation to farm. Hard to keep working 15-hour days and 7-day weeks.
Come on, baby.
When returns are so thin.
The hardest thing I think it was that he said to me was he was afraid he was letting me down. They was quitting. And I don't feel that way at all. I want him to feel good and be happy.
So, from our grandpa to our father to Jay and Lisa.
Thanks for coming.
And done.
A 3rd generation dairy farm, ladies and gentlemen. 9,000 with.
It's little mama.
1,100.
Oh, she's so scared. Oh, mama. Come here, mama. Easy girl.
It's an era that's on the way out, unfortunately. The small family farm.
Eras don't end without consequences.
I mean, we've been together doing this farming thing for 30 years.
Yet Lisa and Jay are luckier than some. They'll get out with their home and still own the land our grandfather purchased in the 1930s. A crop farmer has rented it, and Jay has taken a job at a factory.
It was fun, it was a great life, but I think there's better things out there.
The herd built over 3 generations of our family will be scattered among other dairies whose owners are still hoping for a turnaround. A sign of the times, Walmart versus the 5 and dime, and another empty barn left behind.
Oh yeah.
No reason to stay.
Boyd Hooper, KARE 11 News, River Falls, Wisconsin.
Possession of narcotics, attempted armed robbery.
This has to be a mistake.
Aggravated robbery.
These ugly
escape
words.
Intent to kill.
In such a pretty place. Yet here stands the man.
This is my favorite spot.
Behind them.
Come out here and just stand and just look at the beauty, the freedom.
Danny Amos's road to freedom is as long and broken as any ever taken.
Give you peace of mind.
And that it ended in tiny Balsam Lake, Wisconsin, is among the strangest twists of all.
How unusual is his case?
He is 1 in a million.
That bulging file on the desk of Danny's parole agent,
Paperwork from the prison,
has its beginnings in Kansas City in 1961.
He became a ward of the state at 10.
About the time this picture was taken of the bicycle and candy bar thief, whose father was already in prison and whose mother told a judge she didn't want him.
And I went into the juvenile system and I was raised in there.
And so it began.
In 1983.
The escapes.
Auto theft.
The crimes on the run.
Bank robberies.
The rearrests.
Escape from federal custody.
And ever harsher sentences.
And I was locked down in solitary confinement for 13 years. I've been in at least 34 prisons.
Until last August, when Danny, now in his 60s, was handed a check for $3.70, then released and delivered to Nicole Strom.
When you were assigned his case, was there a moment where you said, uh-oh?
Yes.
Nicole
yes.
was not optimistic. She put Danny's odds of remaining out of prison at slim to none.
He hadn't talked to his family. He had no support network.
But turns out the man who needed a miracle had arrived in the perfect place.
I think the man upstairs brought me here personally.
Alliance Church of the Valley
Yep.
was the first to answer.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Nicole's plea for help.
Hi. All right.
One of the things that caught my attention was how lost he was coming back into society.
Oh, it was overwhelming.
Take Danny's first trip to Walmart.
The electronic doors that open.
That shocked me that you walk up to them and open up like that.
He had never had to pick out sizes. He had never had to buy underwear.
I didn't even know how to use a can opener.
Danny spent his first 6 months of freedom in this homeless shelter, converted from the old county jail.
These used to be the cells.
Danny would know.
I escaped from this jail.
Among the witnesses?
Yep.
Doreen Hendrickson.
He had handcuffs on, and he was just a trucking.
The retired courthouse worker.
And I said, "That was you?"
Who's now renting Danny the home.
He's coming alive.
He's fixing up and furnishing.
Yeah.
With the community's donations.
All given to me.
Danny's driving lessons were a gift too, from Dana Frank.
Some of the biggest pleasure I got out of it is just watching Danny's face.
This is his farm right here.
Dana's farm has become Danny's favorite place.
He just saw that and was like, "Can I ride it?" He'd drive up and down the yard, smiling like a kid. There was an innocence, there was a true innocence.
Innocence is not a word ever before applied to Danny.
You gotta take your finger on here. Danny found Danny Amos here. And I think he found the big guy here too.
Danny is now a member at Alliance Church of the Valley.
How about a thigh?
A volunteer.
Would you like some barbecue sauce? Come here, Freedom.
And a trusted friend.
I'm blessed to have him in my life, and I know a lot of people are.
Without these efforts?
He'd be back behind bars.
You sound certain of it.
I am.
I know where I want to be, and I ain't letting nobody down.
His crimes remain in ugly contrast to the place Danny Amos
How you doing? All right.
has landed.
You'll have to come see me at my house.
Yet Danny's new neighbors have shown him the beauty in other words.
Yeah.
Like love and trust and hope.
Ain't no doubt about it.
Boyd Hooper, KARE 11 News, Polk County, Wisconsin. St. Joseph is a town of steeples. And 6,500 mostly white people.
This is the barbecued shrimp.
Mateo Macby, a notable exception.
We'll go right this way.
Our mission is to make this be successful. Black entrepreneur in a absolutely almost all white rural town.
Mateo came of age as a chef in the Twin Cities. That's him with girlfriend Erin Lucas.
That was our first dollar.
Another entrepreneur.
Flour and Flour, this is Erin.
Who opened a bakery behind Crew. The New Orleans-inspired restaurant the couple started after being lured to St. Joseph by the building's owner.
I've got the muffaletta po' boy. Some of these are family recipes passed down from my grandfather.
For Mateo and Erin,
So it's a lemon cake.
the food
Sorry.
was the easy part.
I didn't know what to expect. It was scary.
2 years before moving to St. Joseph, the couple started another restaurant in even smaller New London.
We had people who wouldn't come in the restaurant in New London because I was an owner there.
Plenty of friends made too, but no mistaking the sometimes snarky comments directed their way at the bowling alley.
It sucks.
Those things sting a little bit.
Mateo brushed it aside,
He handled it well.
while taking advantage of his rural setting to realize a dream, growing his own ingredients and teaching school children about the origins of their food. But nothing could have prepared Mateo for what happened 4 days before the opening of his St. Joseph restaurant. When George Floyd died and chaos erupted back home.
Our first instinct is to go rush to the city to try to find ways that we could help.
Instead, Mateo and Erin leaned on their new community.
The response was insane.
A food drive for hard-hit Minneapolis and St. Paul neighborhoods.
We had lines circling the building. We were brand new to the area, and it was just shock and joy of like people want to help.
It showed that there's the compassion that we feel collectively was also here in the community.
The shrimp po' boy over.
Feelings maintained.
The food is phenomenal.
Through supportive customers.
I hope they stay.
More than 100 cakes and pies
Pretty wild.
ordered for Easter.
I think it's the most perfect fit for what we're trying to accomplish.
And above all,
From Minneapolis.
opens doors.
That's what it's all about, creating a space where people feel comfortable and welcome.
Here are those boudin balls for you folks.
People want us to be here and thank us every single day for being here and changing the culture a little bit in this town from being a little less white.
Mateo and Aaron's Food for Thought.
I think we belong here.
Boydenford, Carol 11 News, St. Joseph. Nala's story first aired 5 years ago this month. It turns out COVID-19 has been affecting her life too. So let's check in. And there she is. And there's Doug. Doug, so good to see you.
Hello, good to see you.
Tell me what Nala is up to.
She works every day at the care center, but she's been on home quarantine since all of that. Since she's a social butterfly, we don't want her, spreading anything.
Does she miss her friends?
Yes, she does. They miss her like the sun. I mean, she's better than a pill. They're waiting on her right now as we speak.
How old is Nala?
Nala is 10 years old. Ling Bloomson throws a party every year. There's more people at her party than my party.
Is 10-year-old Nala any different than 5-year-old Nala, who we first met?
No, she's still going. She has the energy. It's amazing. She hasn't lost a step.
Is she still riding the elevator?
Yes, she does.
Have a good day, Nala.
She has the run of the house.
Hi.
When I punch in, she goes her way. I see her in the middle of the day or when it's time to leave. We do private care also. This is a dear friend of ours. We took care of her husband. This is Heath. And the family, we're still friends to this day. Whoever she meets, they just love her.
What was the aftermath of that story?
I never dreamed it would get that big. Hi, Nala. Thank you for making a cuddly difference. We got letters from Holland, Greece, Germany, lots of greetings from the Netherlands. A hug for Nala that sunshine brings every day. And they send toys all the time. I haven't bought anything for her in years. She's wearing a scarf that was given to her. It's just amazing what this little dog has done.
Doug, this has been so much fun catching up.
Thank you.
I hope Nala gets back to work soon.
She will. Thank you, sir.